Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the official first ever episode of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts Scott and Holly.
Hello.
I'll be honest, I've been feeling a little bit under the weather as of late, which I believe I caught from you.
I got it from someone else.
Okay.
To
Well,
let you know.
that is kind of how it works, but I feel like I caught it from the first episode we recorded, so...
Purely because we were sat in the same room together, let's get this clear.
Yeah, okay, there was no bodily fluids exchanged on this occasion, or ever, actually. I should probably clarify that.
I don't think your wife would be too impressed.
No, I mean, it'd save her a job, to be fair. I don't think she'd be overly fussed. But much like the show that we'll be covering, we're both hardcore, so we're pressing ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll, for the first episode, as I think we teased on some of the social medias, we're covering ECW One Night Stand 2006. Took place on the 11th of June 2006 in the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. Attendance on the night, 2,460. And the Byrex, that was still a thing at the time, where it's still pay-per-view, because they're not pay-per-views anymore, Holly. They're premium live events.
Okay.
So we can't call them pay-per-views.
No, okay.
Was 304,000. So I had a look at the comparison for the time to see if that was an impressive number.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 52,000 higher than Judgment Day, which was the month before it, which was a wholly WWE venture.
Okay.
Not that this wasn't produced by WWE, of course, but it was an ECW branded product.
Okay.
But it was 16,000 less than Vengeance. But I still think, given who was on the card, I'm sure a lot of them were interesting characters for you for the first time of seeing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good going. What I quite like, the Hammerstein Ballroom in general was one of ECW's areas that they used to use quite a lot, one of their arenas that they'd go to. They're mainly based in Philadelphia, but a lot of their work was in the kind of northeast section of the States, and one of them being the Hammerstein Ballroom. You won't know this, but at some point I'm going to make you watch really old stuff, and
good.
by that we're talking early 90s.
Oh, I can't wait.
And in that you'll see that some of the earlier Raw episodes were filmed in the Hammerstein Ballroom as well.
Okay.
I don't think it's the same setup as that, because I believe they've got, within the Hammerstein Ballroom, there are two arenas, kind of, like how they have in the O2 Arena.
Yes.
They've got the main arena and the little ones off it. Similar thing with the Hammerstein Ballroom, so this was their proper main event venue. Okay. And I guess before we go into it, because it's difficult, because we watch the shows independently.
Yep.
And the force of habit with us and having conversations about wrestling is straight away I want to go, what did you think of it?
Yes.
And I couldn't ask.
Yeah,
so,
it was odd also to watch it solo and not message you and be like, oh, this, or oh my god, this was great, or oh my god, I hate this guy, or it was quite hard.
I'm sure there was a lot of that involved.
Yes, there was.
Right.
Yes.
But I think, when I told you that this is the show we're going to be covering, did you have any initial thoughts? What did you know of the show, if anything at all?
Not a lot. So I think this is the only ECW.
Yeah.
You see the hesitation in there.
Yeah.
Show I've ever seen.
Seriously?
I think so.
Okay.
I've seen obviously like segments of shows, but I don't think I've ever watched a full show.
I guess this is kind of a point to ease you into it, because it isn't just ECW,
it was
it's
like
the WWE version of it. So, basically a little bit of background to the show itself, that there was already plans in place by the time this event came round to bring ECW back as a third brand full-time alongside Raw and SmackDown.
Okay.
This largely stemmed from about a year before, to be fair. In 2005 they released a DVD set, which is fantastic. I've got it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'll have to root it out for you at some point, because it's brilliant. It's the rise and fall of ECW.
Oh, okay.
And the sales from that DVD were so far beyond what the WWE expected when they released it, that I think it was Rob Van Dam had mentioned to Vince McMahon, said, let's do a one-off show, for the fans, bring people back. And that's how One Night Stand 2005 kind of came to place in the first instance.
Yeah, because I think watching it, I was a bit confused as to what the point was.
Right.
Because I was like, is it like Survivor Series where it's like Raw versus SmackDown? Like in my head I was like, I'm so confused, because there's some wrestlers that were ECW and then there's some that was at the time WWF, and I was like, I don't understand whether it's going to be that at the end of the night one brand wins over the other. That confused me.
Like bragging rights, it was a pay-per-view, that kind of thing.
And I was like, I in my head I had it as like a Survivor Series.
Okay.
And then halfway through I was like, Yeah, that's not what this is it?
I mean, obviously we're going to go... So the way in which we'll do this, I'll give a little bit more background on the shows. I'll try and do a little bit of research and make it look like a professional operation. I can't guarantee how well that'll go on all of them. And then we'll kind of just go through the show itself. We're not going to go into move by move, but every time something happened on screen that caught my interest one way or the other, I wrote it down. There are a few degrading comments to some of the people that performed on this show, and I'm sure Holly is also guilty of lambasting people. I don't
know what you could possibly mean by that.
Well, we'll get into that, but I think for me, the reason why I picked this show is one, because I know that you didn't have too much familiarity with ECW as in general.
Yeah.
But I also thought there was enough. It was like a slightly lighter touch. It was like the Diet Coke.
You had a little bit to keep me hooked, really.
Yeah, because there's some key people that I knew that you'd be interested in.
There's one or two in there. I thought you were like, you picked especially for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't factor that too much into it, but I thought it was a good starter for 10.
It really was. No,
like I said, it was in the sweet
intro.
spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so, right. What did you think in general with the show opening? Like, the environment, the fans, the atmosphere?
It really... So we went and saw Progress, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I can't remember when.
May, I think.
And I enjoyed that,
yeah.
But this gave me independent show vibes.
Is that good or bad for you?
Right. I don't know, because when I was watching it, there's a couple of comments I made, was that the crowd was a bit much for me.
A bit much?
Like, the shouting of the explicits, I don't... We've seen live wrestling together.
Yeah.
We know how my feelings towards certain people.
Yes.
But I'm not going to shout at them, you suck dick. And if they do, good for them. Who cares?
I mean, I've got a comment on that later on, specifically because of a miming job that was done. But
just silly, like, I don't know, just silly, like, chants that was...
It's what ECW are known for. It was the counter-culture vibe, like
it was just
WWE.
A bit rough for my liking.
It would have been different being in the arena, because don't get me wrong, I'm not a small bloke, I'm not a big bloke, that wasn't a weird flex, but I feel safe in most environments. I feel like because I'm not as invested to shout at that level, I feel like that would have made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I kind of get where you're coming from. Not unsafe, but
no, and I think it was
on
just
edge,
different.
ready for something to kick off.
Yeah, and I don't know, I think it was just different. Like, it's a different vibe to things I've watched on TV before.
Yeah.
If I was at an independent show watching, would I be surprised? No. But because it was like a pay-per-view or whatever they call it, that really, I don't know, that was odd to me.
Okay.
Because you don't see that on
and that's,
All In, All Out, whatever.
That's why I think I asked you what you felt, because you said it had an independent vibe, and in person I know you like that.
Yeah.
But watching it, I've shown you bits before, and you've been like, because it doesn't feel high-end production, big time.
100%, that's what hit me.
Yeah.
It was. I did struggle a little bit, but like I liked the matches, as we'll talk about. But I think watching it was a bit of a struggle. This one I did have to pause and not watch it all in one.
Okay.
Because I was like, this isn't hooking me in, because it wasn't big time, and it wasn't an independent show. It was like
somewhere in between,
a hover in the middle,
a halfway house.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, okay, I get where you're coming from, and like I said, you didn't have any background going into this. So I've seen the show a fair few times myself, to be fair. Like I said, I think I had it on DVD at some point. He says as he looks around the room, see if he can spot it, it'll be down there somewhere. But, yeah, I mean, having watched... So, the way I was introduced to ECW, being from the UK, is probably different from a lot of how the Americans would have been introduced to it. In my local WH Smith's, other retailers are available in the local area near to where we work. I went in there, and they used to have, back in the day, they used to sell VHSs, and this was when they were trying to clear all their VHSs out, and they had like a bargain bin. I had a look in there just to see if there was any WWE, basically, or WWF it might have been at the time, and I saw this, I think it was, I can't remember, I wish I remember the name of the show, but it was an ECW show. I feel like it was Anarchy something, but anyway, that's not important. And I thought, oh, wrestling. I went, oh, this isn't WWF or WCW, what's this? And it was like £1.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to get that. So, and then I routed through the entire bin to try and get any ECW, and I think I got 3 VHSs, so that's how I first started watching ECW. And how old would I have been at the time? So I must have been about... Because I think ECW were near to going out of business and being bought out by WWE at the time. So I must have been about 11, 10, maybe 12 when that happened. And seeing that was such a shock. Because don't get me wrong, the Attitude Era was its thing. But ECW felt grungier, dirtier.
A bit more, not underground, but like not mainstream kind of.
Exactly.
They could get away with a lot more.
And it makes it feel like it's more real. When you're that age, to me I was like, oh, okay, well the other stuff might be fake, but this looks real.
Yeah, and I get them. And to be fair, actually watching it, I did have a couple of notes that was like, oh, this doesn't actually look like they're not faking this.
No.
Whether they are or not is irrelevant, because it doesn't look like it.
No, it's some of the stuff in there is actually brutal. I mean, and this is still a light touch compared to some of the other ECW shows. But to give you a bit more background on ECW, it wasn't just about the hardcore stuff. They catered for certain markets. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of hardcore stuff, but they also had really good technical wrestling. So in the mid-90s, before they went to WCW, they had the likes of Eddie Guerrero in there. They had Chris Benoit. They had Dean Malenko, they had Perry Saturn, so they had these people that were good technical wrestlers.
I know all
Later
of those,
on,
I'm impressed with myself.
Exactly, I'm impressed with you too. They brought in luchadors like Rey Mysterio, they brought in Psychosis, Chris Jericho was in ECW for a bit before they moved on, so they also had really good... The crowd was unique in the fact that they appreciated both ends of the spectrum. So it wasn't like you see some of these feds these days, the independents, where they just do... It's all death matches and that kind of stuff, and it's very targeted towards that demographic. Whereas ECW was a bit of a sweet spot, I think, and a lot of the stuff. So looking back at some of my favourite matches of all time, and we'll probably end up covering one of the shows that I'll find which one it was on, so I can get you to see that. Is Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn. They had some incredible matches in the late 90s. I think it was when Rob Van Dam was the ECW television champion, which he held for close to 2 years, I think, 23 years. Only dropped it because of an ankle injury, but the matches were phenomenal. And yeah, this, like I said, I thought this was a good starting point. I'm not going to just go on an ECW thing and then make you do one ECW show after the other.
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that, because then the podcast will be a very short series, I imagine. But yeah, I was just interested to get your thoughts on it. I mean, some of the signs in the crowd, early doors. If Cena wins, we riot. Yeah, they fucking would.
Well, I fully believe that. I would believe that, actually.
Fully believe that. Yeah. But so anyway, the show starts. It kicks off. The first note I've got here is rabid fans provide a great atmosphere. For the size of the audience, they're
loud.
Their output far exceeds the number of people in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolute animals. But I also said that, and I try to be, it sounds really artistic the way I try to write this, but it just sounds stupid now I'm reading it back. I put sanitised, gritty decor is great. So it's like it's got the dirtiness of ECW about it, but it's been cleaned up. Yeah, so I said sanitised, but it's still kind of keeping that. It's like the broken brick wall where people come out, the smoke machines, all that good stuff. I'll be honest, I loved it because it was just so, at the time as well, WWE, Raw and SmackDown was very vanilla. You know what you're getting. Right. This felt, like anything could happen.
Anything can happen, yeah.
Basically, and I feel like the kind of the decoration of it all fit in nicely.
The music, FYI, one of my favourites, Drowning Pool. Bodies. Freaking love that song, as you know anyway. Yeah. But I didn't know that was effectively the theme tune to this whatever it's called.
Pay-per-view. No, you can still call it pay-per-view. I'll only correct you and be an arsehole when you do it for the ones that aren't.
But I heard it and I was like, oh, okay. So that piqued my interest because I just love that.
It's, again, keeping with the theme of the show itself. So we start off, we see Paul Heyman starting off with a promo.
Snored me straight away.
Snored you?
I can't.
Oh, Holly.
Can't, I know. I'm
okay,
so
right. I'll let you...
Sorry.
No, please, dive in.
I think because I was already like on the fence about it, just from it being a bit like, this is new for me, what is this going to entail? And then I saw him come out, and at this point I didn't like Paul Heyman. I remember this.
Okay.
Because it just annoyed me.
Right.
Now I think he's absolutely brilliant. But back then...
Yes, my tribal chief.
And as soon as I saw him come out, ponytail and the baseball cap with a microphone.
It's not a good look, is that what you're saying?
No. And now...
It's not a panty dropper.
No. But I was just like, don't... Like, for me, the way to start a pay-per-view or whatever is not to come out and jabber on a microphone.
Jabba the Hutt in his instance. He's a bit of a,
not going to be that mean, but
fleshy bastard.
That's for me personally. I'd rather someone came out straight away. Bosh, let's get it going.
I normally agree with you,
Yeah.
so I'm not saying you're wrong. It's an opinion. You're
that's
entitled
all
to it.
good.
But I didn't mind it because of who he was and what he was for ECW.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Being
It did
the
make
owner,
sense. It just
So you kind of allowed it. It's a little bit of
it passed the Holly test, but it was a bit.
Yeah, I mean, on the
frustrating.
7th thank you, I was kind of like, let's reel it in, Paul. Let's get on with the match itself. But you can tell that I felt like that was genuine. A lot of the times when people come out and do promos, especially on the WWE side, you can feel like they're just reciting things that they've been told to say. There's no passion, there's no character behind it. I don't think I've ever heard Paul Heyman talk about anything where I haven't gone, oh, he really cares about what he's discussing.
Yeah, no,
here.
I do agree.
And I'm sure some of the times he's told roughly what to say, but not in this instance, not in front of those fans. But I also said that, or spotted, I should say, when I was looking through the arena at the signs, there was a few bare-chested fans, and I had me wondering if it was an ECW show or a Newcastle United home game.
There was a lot of
man
chest.
titty about. I noticed.
Yeah. And the writing on the chest.
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay.
Well, how do you know that they're hardcore unless they write on their chest?
That is a valid point.
I mean, it's a bold look. I mean, it was June, New York, so it's probably not cold. So that's where the Geordies haven't beat. But it's just like,
yeah, it's just.
I don't know. I feel like if someone was, like how when you walk around in the UK and you go in the shops, you just go around doing your usual bits. Yet when you're overseas, people can go around and kind of just shop in their pants.
Yeah.
And it's accepted. I feel like that's probably the ECW thing. Like a WWE, you've got to be fully clothed or you're not getting served.
Yeah.
ECW,
you can walk in there with no shirt on.
Walk out with your cock out and then you're fine. Get a seat, have a beer. Have a beer on the house. That's what we are here.
Brilliant. Okay.
That's what, and it just, again, it sets the tone nice and early, I think.
Yeah.
And that's where I put, if Cena wins, we riot. I put, they fucking would. There are a few things about Heyman's choice of verbiage that I thought was interesting. The swinging schlong of the extreme was one of his particular phrases where I thought, oh, Paul, what would your mother think?
Yeah, I'll be honest,
You tuned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just went on too long for me.
It was a little bit. It's not the most annoying promo on the night.
No.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But it was... Yeah, because he forgot. He went to finish the promo,
and then
he went, oh, before I forget.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, no.
That's when I think I internally went, oh.
And that's very unlike him. I feel like don't get me wrong, what he said was good, and had he said it without the pause, it would have been fine. But the fact he went back to it, I was like, no, that doesn't land.
Wasn't for me.
It's like when you see someone doing a match and they clearly cock up a spot that they're doing, then they immediately go and try to do it again. Like, don't do that. Just move on. Just pretend like that. That's what's supposed to happen. My least favourite part, beyond him saying the swinging schlong, was when he spat directly on the microphone.
Oh yeah, that's
absolute throat rocket
grim
on there.
Absolutely.
And I feel like a lot of wrestlers do this because I see it quite often, and every time I see it, I just think you look like a fucking idiot. You could be the toughest guy in the world if you're like, I've seen Brock Lesnar do it, and Brock Lesnar can kill any human he wants.
Yeah.
But if I see you spit on the microphone, I think you look like a fool.
Yeah, it's not the one, is it?
No, and I mean, at least he's not a wrestler, so I wasn't supposed to think of him as a physical threat.
True.
But it did.
And this is coming from someone who has been spat on whilst front row.
Yeah, okay. We'll go into that another time. In fact, maybe we'll cover that Progress show that we went to. But
yeah, I think we should. Yeah.
Actually, no, it wasn't the Progress show I was spat on. It was the WXW.
It was the second one that we went back for.
Yeah. That was interesting.
I mean, it was an accidental spitting.
It wasn't accidental spitting. I don't think it any form of crime.
Spitting and sweat. It was. You got covered in all of.
I got drenched that day. Honestly, I got absolutely
came
soaked.
out dry as a bone, and it was you.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, you just looked around the crowd and went, "No, not for me." This, but we've got to save some material for a bit of the other shows. So right, I put here strong kick-off to the show.
Was it?
Rev the crowd up nicely. Well, because it revved the crowd up.
It annoyed me.
Yeah.
To be fair, it started off, and I was like, "Oh, great," and then I saw who came out after, and I was like, I died inside. I'll be honest.
So I guess you're talking about the first match, is that?
Yes.
So the first match we move into is Taz with two Zs, because it's WWE's Taz, not the singular Z, and Jerry the King Lawler, aka the Raging Alleged Nonce.
Oh my god.
Sorry, there's a lot of stuff out there, and just hearing the way he talks, allegedly. But he makes me feel uncomfortable as a 34-year-old man even. So I can only imagine how he makes the fairer sex feel.
I mean, I didn't like his outfit, let's put it that way. I've seen it hundreds of times.
I will say, he played his role in this pretty well.
Yes.
To give him credit where it's due. So, Jerry the King Lawler, you know him as a commentator, you won't have really seen him ever wrestle, to be fair, apart from in this kind of
I've
stuff.
only seen a couple of clips from back in the day.
So, he was massive in the 70s and definitely the 80s in Memphis. So, King of Memphis, he basically helped run the promotion there. I think he's something like a 30-plus time champion in the area. He was always a face.
Right.
They loved him.
Okay.
There. So it's funny to think that all the time in WWF, apart from on commentary when you can you don't have to be either.
Yeah, you can be in the middle, can't you? Yeah.
Exactly. He was there always doing heel work pretty much. So it's quite interesting to see that in his prime he was mainly a face. But I thought, and he actually had a real dislike of ECW. Right. This goes back to the 90s. So I want to say it was about 94, Vince McMahon, WWF, they created a bit of a relationship with Paul Heyman, with ECW. Mainly because they were poaching, or going to be poaching a lot of their talent, but they wanted to make sure that they were on the side of them rather than WCW. Paul Heyman used to work for WCW under the name of Paulie Dangerously. Okay. He was a manager. He had a tremendous falling out when he left the company there. Hated Eric Bischoff, hated WCW, hated the whole enterprise. Okay. So Vince McMahon saw the opportunity to create that relationship between the two companies. And ECW in 94 had little invasions of Raw. Where we had, I think Sabu appeared on top of the old Raw is War, well not Raw is War, but the old War sign, jumped off it, landed on a load of people when he was feuding with Taz at the time. And Jerry Lawler was like, I genuinely do not know why we're giving these people airtime. They kind of covered it quite well in the documentary. I don't think they were kayfabing it. I think that was legitimately how he felt. And basically it's a long-going story that kind of led to this moment. There was even a part where Jerry Lawler went to ECW, turned up in the arena. I think ECW used to do this thing where they turned all the house lights out and the crowd would know something big was about to happen. Lights came back on. Jerry Lawler appeared in the arena. Fans showering him with booze, and I think they were throwing stuff at him as well. Okay. And he basically came out with this phrase, and the reason I'm telling you this is because it kind of linked into what I saw in mouth when he came out at the entrance. He said, this arena should be filled with toilet paper because all I see is nothing but shit. And that was the whole thing. He, with Tommy Dreamer, with a kendo stick, hit him in the balls, legitimately misjudged, well, I say legitimately misjudged, might have been intentional, I don't know, actually caned him in the bollocks and ruptured one of Tommy Dreamer's testicles. Again, it was covered in the DVD, very interesting. Okay. And when he came out at the show, at the entranceway, you could see him mouth nothing but shit as he looked around the crowd. And I thought that was a nice little stitch back for me.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then going up there, I guess this is a good opportunity as any to talk about it. What do you think about Joey Styles as a commentator? Okay.
Okay. Is that the summary for it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's, for me, sometimes obviously it's hard because I don't know these people and I've not heard too much of this person before.
That's fine.
But I was very aware that he's to me, not everyone, but he's no Michael Cole.
No.
I know, I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
That one hurt. I thought you were going to say JR and I was going to allow it.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I mean, again, but I don't know. I didn't hate him.
So, Joey Styles has a unique ability in my book on the basis that for a lot of the ECW shows, he was a one-man booth. One person calling an entire show.
Which must be horrendously hard, to be fair, having no one to bounce off.
Exactly, but he did it so well that you didn't notice, it didn't feel like anything was missing.
I mean, I would say, that's a fair point, but actually, after the first match, there was two of them anyway. So...
Exactly, I mean, he wasn't even on commentary for the first match because he went down to the ring, as we're about to discuss. So, I also actually mentioned, so I had to look him up because I didn't know his name, Stephen DeAngelis as the ring announcer. Okay. Not good for big level events, I wouldn't have said, but because, it was different, it worked for ECW. So it was a nice little treat because I didn't want to hear Tony Chimmel or Lillian Garcia. Yeah. It wouldn't have felt right. No. So it felt, again, it felt authentic, which was nice. Yep. So we got, okay, this is it's not controversial because it's what it was. I said Taz looks like a retired Little League coach coming out ready to look after his grandson's team, take them to the big game.
Okay.
He's a man who was once time the human suplex machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great nickname because he used to throw people on their heads all the time, and it was excellent. He has not aged well in terms of physique, and again, rich coming from me, but he's just a little tubby fella, isn't he? Really?
He did look quite menacing, though.
Oh, he's menacing as shit.
Yeah.
Like, he will choke a bitch out. But just physique-wise, it's hard to... It's like he
didn't need to be, did he, in that match? Like, it was a bit
No, he didn't. But it was kind of a little... Fortunately, they kept it short, so that was the good thing.
Thank God, because I did worry this was going to go on. And I was
I mean, he had to get back and work his shift at the chocolate factory anyway for Willy Wonka, because... well, I think you know what I'm saying with that. But I said that this was the battle of the Sex Pest and the Oompa Loompa, which was a strong start for an ECW show.
Christ.
That isn't how they booked it. And believe me, I say this with nothing but respect, I really liked Taz's work when he was an in-ring performer at ECW.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter about how tall he was, came across as a menacing badass. And even when he joined WWE, which we'd probably cover that show at some point, he looked legitimate.
Yeah.
But here it's kind of a nostalgia act.
Yeah.
I get why they did it, and I'm glad it was short.
Yeah.
Nothing really to note, to be fair.
I'll be honest, we've covered my 2 notes that I made on that match.
That's how much you enjoyed it?
Yep.
Joey Styles getting a slap, was that one of them?
Underneath, I presume this was for comedic value. I did not find it funny.
Okay. Yeah, Joey Styles getting a slap, I thought, fair enough. I mean, he looks like someone who's probably had a few slaps in his time. He's also given a few slaps. There was a famous story.
Oh no, is this another alleged or is it
No.
Okay.
No, it's one that I feel proud.
Okay.
Joey Styles is one of my people.
Okay.
Based on my thoughts on the other person.
Okay.
So there's a certain loudmouth Texan fucking cowboy hat wearing piece of shit who we see later.
You suck dick, that guy.
Who's the fruit booty in now? So we see him later in the show. But he used to basically... He's quite a bully in the locker room, basically. If he could get away with it,
yeah, I've heard that, actually, yeah.
Joey Styles was one of the people that he would do this with.
Oh, okay.
It happened, I think it all came to a head on a flight. Joey Styles got up, had enough, walked over to him, punched him straight in the face, put him down.
Wow, okay.
And
would not have expected that from...
No, but if you're going to hit any man, that's the man to hit, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd be on board with that, yeah.
And we're talking, and I've already talked about someone who gives very negative vibes towards women, but I'd still would rather see JBL get hit over that, which says a lot about the man to me.
Yeah.
But again, no, I'm jumping ahead here. We'll come to him later on. But yeah, so like I said, I put even here. Thank God this match was over quick. Yet Taz was still out of breath after he put the Taz mission on JR. That would have been a more interesting match, to be fair. But he put it on King in this instance, and King passed out.
Yeah.
Short, quick.
Short and
Taz
sweet.
on commentary.
Bye-bye. Let's carry on.
It was quite a good way of getting then Taz on the commentary. Yes. I thought that was a nice little play. And now we go to one of my favourite matches on the night. I think. Probably one of yours, given a certain individual involved.
I quite enjoyed it, I'll be honest.
So we move on to, as he was at the time, the Legend Killer, as he was going through RKOing all the old people, all the old boys. Randy Orton against the Olympic gold medalist and new ECW convert, as you'll have seen from the promo work.
I did.
Kurt Angle. And this was right at the tail end of his WWE run before they basically got rid of him because they're like, you're going to die. If you carry on the way you're going. He left early 2007, I think it was, so this was the summer of 2006.
Oh, okay.
But the first thing I wanted to put here is Kurt Angle. My God, what a treat he was for wrestling.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
Really, I really enjoyed him. Really good.
He's adapted to it like no one else.
Yeah.
And just his matches, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, have I seen a bad Kurt Angle match? And the fact that one isn't immediately jumping to mind, other than against the human sperm, which ended his career, but that's because of Angle's age as much as anything. That's not even a jab at Baron Corbin, believe it or not. I mean, there's not much you can do with Angle
leave him alone.
That point. I'll leave him alone for this episode, but Baron, I'm coming for you, boy.
He can come for me if he likes.
I'm sure he would. So we got here Taz, and one of the things that and I find this with football as well, when I'm listening to commentators, they'll say these certain tropes over and over again, and it's boring.
Right. Okay.
And Taz has got one he falls back on. So, like, I mean, even footballers do it. They'll always say, at the end of the day. Everything happened at the end of the day. Nothing ever happened at any other time of the day. Or the beginning part of the day. Or throughout the day.
Just always.
At the end of the day, this happened.
Yeah.
Taz always says, not for nothing.
Oh, okay. I can't say I noticed it, I'll be honest.
So I just put, not for nothing, shut up. Just
once you'd heard it once, you didn't need to hear it.
Yeah, because he was the
times.
full-on SmackDown commentator going into this as well, so you hear it a lot, and it just feels like not for nothing. Just you're paid to talk.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not for nothing, but a little thing. Maybe I'm overreacting. It annoyed me.
Yeah, fair play.
So the first comment after that I put was, "What do you think of the kid who hit Randy Orton on the way out?"
All right, honestly, it's this sort of stuff that really boggles me. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I would have quite happily seen Randy Orton just RKO this little fella.
That really boggled me.
Do you see the look of fear on his dad's face when he did that? Like, oh no. Like, but the bullet had left the gun at that point.
Yeah, that's... I don't know, it's just weird to me.
And Randy Orton kind of kept it in pretty well. I mean, he clearly mouthed motherfucker as he spun round and walked off. And I thought Orton was actually on form tonight. He'd had all his vitamins for this show.
Oh, yes,
this was still very much in the phase where he was failing wellness policies, left, right and centre, coming up.
He is one of the few wrestlers I can count on one hand, but I'm okay with him wrestling in pants.
He's a very handsome boy.
He's not ugly.
No, he's not. I mean, for as much as I like pop at some of the others that you like, I will not be faulting this man.
No.
He is a fucking Adonis.
Yeah.
But you could tell that he was retaining water because of how puffy his face looked.
Hamster cheeks.
Cheeks. And you know that there's something... He's not a well boy. But I thought he played this one really well.
Yeah.
He looked like he was legitimately concerned about Kurt Angle being a threat, which he should be if you're having a legitimate fight with a guy. And there's a little touch that he did when he left the arena. So he asked for 2 refs to help take him along.
Yeah.
And then he waved to the fans. Well, he waved to the people who
were
booing him, went, my fans, thank you.
That was very funny. That did tickle me. I did enjoy that.
Brilliant. But what did you think of the match itself?
I actually really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I did miss the "You Suck" chants, I'll be honest, for Kurt Angle.
Well, it's because they changed his music specifically so the fans couldn't do that, if you remember.
But actually, I really liked it. I actually preferred this match of his over any others that I've seen.
Was that Angle or Orton? Sorry.
Angle.
Okay.
Purely because it was like a different persona.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like, he wasn't trying to be like the gold medal winning wrestler. He was a wrestler. And actually, I really enjoyed it.
He was a
really
badass.
Good. Yeah.
He was and he was living up to his intensity, one of his 3 eyes, because a favourite of my moment in the match is when he offered Orton his head. It's like, come give me a headlock. You can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And he did that a few times, and I thought that's big ball stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I also put here a little note: Randy Orton making women wet since 2002, but I think you covered that one off quite nicely.
Oh my God.
And then Angle Wrestling Machine, never... I don't know what I've put here. Never a truer phrase spoken, which I believe was said on commentary. Orton, for as much as I find some of his matches a little bit tiresome, I know he can have good matches.
Yeah.
He's such a better heel than he is a face.
Oh,
naturally dislikable persona. Not saying outside of the ring, but certainly in the ring. Even when he's a face, I'm like, I can't get on board liking you. Which, and I mean, at one point he even turned around to the crowd and said, "Shut your fucking mouth." So, living the dream was Orton in that match. But crowd signs. Again, we've touched on the crowd a few times in this one, but there was one sign. I don't know if you saw it, but I felt the need to write it down. It just said pork.
Oh no!
Just pork. Why? Like, that obviously meant that was an in-joke for, like, probably just him holding the sign.
Watching at home, maybe, I don't know.
Or was he putting his dinner order in with his mum at home later? So I've decided pork, mum.
Hey, it's not a bad way to do it.
I mean, I get on TV, it's an expensive way to do it. Yeah. But do you think his mum was sat there at home watching the pay-per-view to see what her boy's dinner order was? I don't think so. But were there any particular moments in the match, like move-wise, or anything that caught your attention?
Well, yeah, I wrote 2 down. But now that it's been a day or 2 since I watched it, then it really makes sense.
Right.
The standard Kurt Angle, is it a German suplex?
German suplex,
where he doesn't let go.
Yep, holds on.
Standard.
Yep.
Fully enjoyed that.
Brilliant.
It was great.
Yeah.
The other one, Orton's sell for the tap out.
Yeah.
Bit much.
Oh, see, no, I like that. So going into the match, he the whole thing was he'd had his ankle broken. So he was sensitive towards it. And I like the fact that every time Angle made a motion to go for it, Orton was wide-eyed, panicking, trying to get away from it, and I thought the counters for that were really good. We'll go on to the finisher in a bit, but I put I think it was Orton did. I'm sure it was Orton that did this when he went to the top turnbuckles. And it's not something that even Orton in his younger days particularly did. He'd do occasional missile drop kicks, but he did a crossbody, and the sound of meat slapping meat.
Oh yeah.
When he hit Kurt Angle, he kind of hit him on his head as much as anything.
Odd, yeah.
Don't know why I felt the need to actually strike myself there to feel it, but
it's a sound effect.
It was a sound of wet meat hitting wet meat, and I'm sure you were all for it actually.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I put here the angle slam counter to an arm drag that took place. I can see you going through the mental archives.
Literally can see it in my brain.
Exactly, it's when Angle went for it and then Orton just kind of slipped out the back, because normally what you see people do for the traditional counter, they just land on their feet and then do something else. Orton kind of, and I assume it was intentional, didn't land on his feet, just grabbed the arm that was nearest to him and pulled him over. And I thought it was just a nice little, it was a difference, and I thought that was important for a show such as this where he's outside of his normal comfort zone. I put here Orton on an Irish whip falling to the canvas with Angle hitting hard. It's a great touch. It's something that you don't see that often. Back in the day, Bret Hart used to have this thing where when he was thrown into the turnbuckle, he'd run in sternum first, hit it, and then just fall down, and you're like, oh, that looks like it really hurts. And Orton put all his might into it. Angle hit it, came out and went straight down. I thought it's a nice little touch, because I always think the first thing that made me think that wrestling wasn't on the level when I was young was when you saw someone get thrown into the ropes or thrown into the corner. I thought, just stop running. You don't have to run.
That is a valid point.
And then, so I don't mind it now. You take it as part and parcel of the package. But it was something like that, and I go, oh, actually, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He ran into it, and he caused the impact himself. But it's a
bit more believable when you can see someone putting the effort in to show
exactly my point. And then we saw, I said, the Bratverse goes flying as we see the first German suplex. And as you said, it's Angle's suplexes. There's only one other person that does it of a similar level to Angle, and it's not Brock Lesnar.
Oh, that's literally who I was going to say.
No, he's good. He does it differently and more scary. But the other one would be He Who Shall Not Be Named, who I mentioned earlier.
Okay, right, yeah.
We'll obviously have to discuss this person when it comes to a show they're in.
Yeah.
And for the, obviously, not condoning anything that's happened there, but as a wrestler, his ability was phenomenal, and Kurt Angle's German suplexes were every bit as good for me.
Okay.
Another little touch that I liked was Angle stamping on Orton's ankle so he couldn't get away, and then again the wide-eyed panic in Orton's face. And I thought the finish itself was quite nice. So he tried the ankle lock the traditional way a few times, and then went, no, you're not getting away. Grapevine the legs, sat down, laid down.
Yeah, no,
Orton.
I agree actually.
So what was it about Orton?
I don't know. I just, we know I have a problem with overselling, and I'll be honest, he's on this card anyway. I think John Cena really has ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Because he's an overseller.
Yeah.
And now when I watch matches where people do it, it just winds me up instantly. And I'm not necessarily saying they're overselling.
Yeah.
But it's a bit just, I don't know. It just goes past the level of, I don't know what the words are.
Believability,
but,
breaks the immersion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know it's, we all know the deal with wrestling. Like, I get it.
Stop spoiling it for the kids out there.
And there's no kids listening to this.
There's no one listening to this, probably.
But I don't know. And I just think because I've watched so many things that it's not this move, but we're going to do they try and choke each other out.
Yeah.
Oh, I've passed out. I'm awake.
Yeah.
It's just it's finished. Tap out. Boom. Done.
No, I think I agree with you on any hold that is effectively a choke. If it works in MMA to put people out, I don't want to see wrestlers coming back from the brink and doing it anymore.
Absolutely not.
Back in the 80s when stuff wasn't known, like mixed martial arts wasn't a thing back then, I can understand how that would work because people don't know. Now the audience is educated enough to know that that's bollocks.
Yeah.
So... I'll be honest with him, and as much as I can criticise Orton for various things, I actually thought his sell was spot on this show. Really thought it was good. So credit to him.
Cool.
So we see, like I said, Angle get the win with the ankle lock, and I put very good match.
I actually really enjoyed it.
Very good.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this one is going to be interesting, mainly because I think you will only know one of the four people in there, potentially two. Tajiri.
He's the only person I knew who he was.
I think you might have seen... Oh, actually, it might have been in the slut years where you weren't watching.
I love it. You still references. Great. Brilliant.
Well, you put it out there. So the next match is a tag team encounter between the Full-Blooded Italians and Super Crazy and Tajiri.
Yes.
So again, before I go into anything on the specifics of it, what did you know about Tajiri?
So I remember watching him from WWF days.
Yeah.
And just his style, really enjoyable for me to watch.
Yes.
I quite like it. It's fast paced, it's quick moving. There's not a lot of breathing time.
Yep.
Which I struggle with my attention span watching matches that have long breathing spaces.
Brilliant.
So.
And yet you like Randy Orton. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I can look at him. It's fine. I don't have to pay attention to what's going on.
Tajiri's a handsome boy.
So when I saw that he was in this match, I was like, oh, okay. He's the only person I know. Kind of hoping it's going to be a fast-paced, pow, 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 it's done.
And it was.
And I really enjoyed it. I did do a little Wikipediaing and Googling, obviously, for anyone else that was in that match.
So what did you think of the FBI?
Right, as soon as they came out, I rolled my eyes and I went, here we go, it's like Tony fucking D'Angelo in the past, who I can't bear, as you know.
I do know this.
And I just thought, brilliant. It's going to be exactly like that.
This was a little bonus for me because I forgot that this match was on the card when I picked it. And as soon as I saw the FBI come out, I thought, Holly hates Tony D'Angelo so much, this is not going to sit well with her.
And I literally sat there and I was like, internally, I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to endure this. But actually, once the match started, I really enjoyed it because it wasn't like Tony D'Angelo whatsoever. It was entertaining.
No, what do you think about the "Where's my pizza" chants though at the FBI?
Again, it's just ridiculous.
It's
not the worst chant of the night
nowhere
by
near.
far.
Nowhere near.
But again, not necessary.
I mean, again, and accompanying the FBI is alongside Little Guido and Tony Mamaluke, which is a great name.
That's the guy I didn't know.
So
the only guy's name.
Big Guido.
Oh, okay. The only guy's name I caught was the Little Guido guy. Yeah, so he's the one I Wikipedia'd.
So Little Guido was in WWE. He was under Nunzio, was his name. But again, I think these were the years where you probably had stopped watching. But he was under there. I think Tony Mamaluke, I don't think he was... I think they brought him in for the rebranded ECW. So I think he stayed around for a little bit, but not too long after this show. And yeah, Big Guido, who was that linguini, greasy-haired, Easter Island-headed fucking idiot walking around there. I'm fair enough. He got a paycheck, but what? He wasn't fucking... Well, I guess he was needed for something later on that happened, but...
To me, that kind of ruined... Not the end, but him coming out ruined... So I've never seen any of these before. I didn't know any results. I didn't Google it before, because I like to... element of surprise. But as soon as he came out with them, it ruined it a bit for me because I thought, well, they're obviously going to win. And I was like, it's a bit annoying. And what happened later was interesting, but I was just a bit like, okay, fine.
I mean, my first note here was Big Guido borrowing Baron Corbin's hairpiece.
From the old... When do you leave him alone?
It just came up. You can't come out with that hair, looking like that, and not make me think Baron Corbin. I want Baron Corbin to have all the success in the world, but I don't want him to, I don't want his mistakes to go unchecked, is what I'm saying. And then we've got Super Crazy, rocking every mum's barnet from the 80s and 90s in the UK. The Perm of Dreams.
Oh, for sure.
And he's quite an odd-shaped man, Super Crazy, because his balance is perfect. Like, he's really good,
He's
athletic.
a high flyer. But he's not slimline or little.
Absolutely
not. He's a regular guy, which did actually really surprise me.
Yeah, but
made it better.
Because when you saw him come out, you must have thought, oh God, what are we going to watch here?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Especially with a name like Super Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very entertaining.
Also stayed in WWE for a while as part of the Mexicals, alongside Psychosis and Juventud Guerrera, and they came out infamously on lawnmowers.
Oh, it's those guys.
Super Crazy was one of those guys.
God.
Obviously utilising him to his full potential there. Shocking state of affairs, but Super Crazy matches are always high octane, good affairs. And I think a lot of my comments from this match were Tajiri, the kicks.
Yeah, I've got that in there.
And the screams.
I've got the best kicks of any matches we've seen and documented on this so far. In brackets, 100%. CM Punk.
Yeah.
I know they're different, but by far these were just...
Yeah, CM Punk's never claimed to be a Japanese buzzsaw.
No, I know, but do you know what I mean?
But the screams as well, how high-pitched they were. Seeing as you look at him, and you go, right, these are no nonsense. He's just going to go in there, kick some heads around, and then to hear that thing he does, like, it got me every time. I couldn't commit to that fully because I thought I'd have a coughing fit. But I just put Tajiri's kicks give me more.
Yeah.
Just they all look good.
That.
I think there was a bit where it looked like there was a bit of transition work where something didn't go as it was supposed to, and Tajiri covered it by, oh, I'm going to kick you in the face, and it's going to look awesome. And he kicked him in the face, and it did look awesome. He was right. And
his actually is one of, not of the few, because I'm sure there's a couple, but his I want to say it's a sleeper hold, but I don't think it is. But the stretch he does on the other person. Oh my god, this is awful description work here.
Okay, this is the first example of Holly trying to explain a move she doesn't know the answer to, and I've got to work out what she means.
So he's kind of, I think he's behind them.
Yeah.
It looks a bit like Paige's, the one that Paige used to do.
The octopus stretch.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
And it looks like it does something.
What about the tarantula in the corner?
Oh yeah, I like that too.
Okay, the dual tarantulas that we saw. Again, a lot of this is just me putting credit down for Tajiri, but I noticed when he calmly walked across the ring, just taking a leisurely stroll before kicking Mameluke straight in the face to break up a pin. Just like there was no rush, calmly walk across, and then just started offloading kicks in his head. Brilliant. Yep. Funny, but also looks like it's going to fucking hurt.
Yeah.
So fair play to Tajiri. I also put here, Holly will be wondering where the full-size adults are in the ring. Apart from Big Guido standing on the outside.
Yeah. Everyone was
pint-sized.
Smaller stature.
Yeah, and I know that, you've got a 6 foot rule.
Yes,
and I thought, what were your thoughts? Did you have to...
hang on, we're getting off the wrestling and we're doing a physical, like, personally? What do I think of them?
No, kind of linked to the wrestling too. So I'm asking, when you saw them, I know you knew Tajiri.
Yeah.
Did you think, I can't get into these guys being wrestlers because they're small? Or did that not?
No, actually, because they were all, like, not all small, but they were all similar.
Height, so you couldn't tell?
Yeah, well, sounds harsh, but yeah.
That's brilliant.
Because what I hate is, I hate, like, watching a Rey Mysterio match against someone who's 6'5".
Yeah, okay.
Like, they were all similar stature, build, so for me, it works, apart from bloody giant Big outside the ring.
Yeah.
But it worked for me, so I invested, shall we say.
Yeah,
and it was believable.
And to be fair, I kind of get what you're saying, because I know that you've also been... You want the women's division to introduce like a lighter weight women's.
Absolutely.
I think it's less noticeable in the women's game, but I think you've got a valid point.
Just none of
like we see Zelina Vega going on against
Rhea
Ripley getting
honestly
absolutely sausaged by her. Yeah, no, okay.
So for me, this was fine. They were all of similar build, stature. There was not one person in there that was going to clean house.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
That's fair.
So I did enjoy it.
But there were power moments.
Yeah.
There was a bit where Super Crazy, I don't know if you remember this, had his arm in a arm scissors, had the guy on the floor, deadlifted him onto his shoulder. Mm-hmm. For a tubby little fella, I don't know, like I couldn't do that. Well, I'm pretty sure I couldn't do that. But
yeah, it was
to lift up a man like that. It was impressive.
Yeah.
And it was really impressive. I was put here, Styles and Taz talking about Little Guido fucking his wife into a state of paralysis. I don't know if you caught on to that.
I think I zoned out of the commentary, I'll be honest.
I took a little bit of liberties with the wording of choice, but they basically said, they were saying Little Guido, size 12 feet, so that's 12 American, so 11 UK, for his height, because he's 5'7", I think. Yeah. They're like, someone said, his poor wife. And I was like, so you're suggesting that
I remember hearing that, but not...
Yeah,
I think I just zoned in on the wrestling rather than listening to those two jabber on.
Basically, once you go FPI, you don't go back. Is what they were getting at there. I cannot confirm or deny these rumours, but I'm sure Holly will be having a Google later.
Oh my god, you sound like a sex pest.
Well, there's already enough of them on the show, to be fair. I mean, what's one more to the mix at this point?
Sex pest.
A legal sex pest? Can you have a legal sex pest?
Just putting it out there.
Okay, right, fair enough. And then, so as we get towards the end, so we see it was a good match, a very fun match. Actually, even though it's very different from the Angle Orton match, it was comparably entertaining for me.
Yes, I'm glad they put it after, actually.
Yes.
Because I was already entertained, or kind of, not transfixed to that, because I wasn't, but like entertained by that one. Yeah. And then for it to flow into this one,
which was different.
Ooh, yeah. I enjoyed that.
Because if it had been the same kind of match,
Yeah, 100%. The end of it, I almost fell into a coma.
So, yeah. as we get to the end of the match, double Fisherman Buster, Little Guido pins Tajiri, FBI win. And then I've got, why is that fucking lump getting involved?
Yeah.
As the big bitch comes down the ring. Big Show, again, back in the day, you were never, don't get me wrong, you were never the best wrestler, but you were involved in some good matches. This didn't feel like it was needed. I know, again, I understand why they did it, because he was going to ECW, he, changed allegiances.
Yeah.
But him coming out then to just basically go, what you just saw is fucking irrelevant. Yeah. I'm just going to deck everyone.
That annoyed me because I had really enjoyed that. And then you're bringing someone else out down to to me, it annoyed me because it stole the limelight. It was a good match. You've taken it away from them just to prove that you're 10'2" and, 900 pounds, whatever. Like, it's just not necessary.
I thought it was belittling, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they wanted him on the show so bad, and I'm glad they didn't give him a match, but if they wanted him on that bad, give him someone to kill, move on.
JBL?
Yeah, okay. So, speaking of... So we move on to the next one. So my least favourite promo of the night, my least favourite human of the night, is JBL promo. Now, interestingly, on commentary, there are times where I've not disliked what JBL brings to the table, literally, in this case. As a wrestler, shite.
Right.
Never been engaged in a JBL match. It's just, again, it's not all about physiques, but he's not believable.
Right?
He's not believable at the top level. When he was in the APA, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Him and Farouk.
Oh, see, we've had this conversation because I didn't even realise
it was the same.
The same freaking person.
No, exactly.
Because I loved the APA.
Yeah.
And then you were like, it's the same guy, and I was like, no, it's not. I was like, oh shit, it is.
Yeah.
No.
It's just because to me, he didn't have the talent level to be up there. His promos were okay. I'm not going to say that they were awful, barring what happened on this show, because I just didn't need that in my life.
No.
But, and again, it's not a physique-led business, but if you're not great in the ring, not overly great on the microphone, and you look like a boiled bag of spuds, it's not a good combination. It's not a good combination. I don't know what he's bringing to the table. And the fact that in this promo, so JBL comes out on the balcony, just taking up all the oxygen in the fucking room. And I can't stand this man. Bully, arsehole, sack of crap wrestler. I feel like I went strong.
You did.
Fired my shot early on that one. I also put, is the phrase fruit booty allowed?
That's so weird.
But yeah, because they were getting to him. The fans were getting to him.
Clearly.
As he would have expected, to be fair, going into that environment. And then he was bragging about what had happened at One Night Stand 2005. So if we ever cover that show, you'll see it in person. But I don't know if you're familiar with the wrestler, the Blue Meanie.
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's a character for you to discover at some point. There was a brawl between ECW and WWE guys, and JBL legitimately started throwing potatoes. So when I say throwing potatoes, that's a term for throwing legitimate right hands. Being stiff.
Okay.
Throwing potatoes. So it wasn't like throwing a bag of Jersey Royals at him or anything. And cut him up. Basically busted his face open. Okay. Blue Meanie was going to sue WWE, and WWE ended up giving him a job. He had a pay-per-view match with JBL later down the line. Yeah. As a kind of recompense. And JBL was using that in his speech. He said, last time I was here, I was beating that fat sack of crap up. And I was just like...
okay.
You're getting heat. People are disliking you, but not for the right reasons.
No.
Because you are legitimately a dick.
Annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, you've done very well with, investments and all this kind of stuff outside of wrestling. Credit to you. But... just everything you've touched in wrestling, apart from the APA, I have not enjoyed at all.
Agree.
It's a detraction for me, and I wish it wasn't on this show. I really do. So, what were your thoughts when JBL appeared on the balcony?
I have 3 notes. One says, "Oh, I noted Rey Mysterio was there in the background. I wonder if he's got a match coming up." Because obviously I didn't Google it.
Also, wasn't Ray.
And I was like, was it not?
No, it's just... so you've been unfortunate here. That's just a generic Latino gentleman wearing Rey... Because
really?
I'll be honest...
Looks like Rey Mysterio, though.
And to give you
obviously
credit...
the mask and stuff.
To give you credit, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, what's he doing there?
Everything
no, it's not him.
Looked really...
Yeah, stature-wise.
Yeah, and the necklace. Yep. I was like, brilliant.
But no, it wasn't him.
Hey-ho, that was fine. The fact that he... it's just like the cowboy hat. I love a cowboy. We know I do. Take off the hat. Makes me sad. Yeah. Because
he's not the cowboy looking gentleman.
Absolutely not. And my last point, I switched off and ate a Freddo. thought you'd enjoy that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank you.
I like the fact that you could eat. I know Freddos aren't the biggest of chocolates for anyone outside the UK.
Freddo.
They're good, but you could eat a whole Freddo while JBL was still talking. It's pretty good. Was it? How do you eat a Freddo? Is it like a 2-bite job, or do you nibble?
No, I'm a nibble around the outside.
You nibble around the outside.
Nibble around the outside,
and you still did all that while he was talking.
Absolutely.
That's sensational bit of business. Good food admin.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we move on to a match that I was actually, before it took place, was really looking forward to, because I thought it's such a contrast of styles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how good or how bad they're going to mesh on the night.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a world title defence, and now I've called it a world title here because they took the heavyweight out after Rey Mysterio won the belt.
Yep.
So through the Eddie-sploitation, all that stuff, riding the wave of momentum, won the Royal Rumble, beat Angle and Alternate Mania in a triple threat, and then decided to put him with every big fucker in that locker room. I think it was Kane, Great Khali, I know was one of his early matches, but probably Mark Henry. I don't know if he had something with the Big Show. Yeah, even Sexual Chocolate got involved. It was just... And if you're trying to... Again, this comes back to an ECW thing for me. Paul Heyman was always like, hide the negatives and accentuate the positives.
Okay.
Rey Mysterio is not big.
No.
Do not shine a spotlight on that to make him look... They set him up to fail immediately. And it's such a shame because there are people that he could work with. Even Angle. Angle's a lot bigger than him.
Yeah.
Angle and Ray have had great matches over the years, so it is doable.
But he's not too big.
No, he's not. I mean, I think he's about 6 foot, Angle. I think he's just around that cut-off. But it just seems a shame to take the heavyweight title out, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you weigh. If you won that title, and it's called the heavyweight title, it's the heavyweight title.
Yeah, agreed.
So, you're familiar with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
He has a past in ECW. Sabu. Is this your first time seeing an official Sabu match?
Yes.
What are your takeaways on the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal man known as Sabu?
Right. My first note says homicidal, suicidal. Bit close on the cusp there.
Yeah, I mean, that hadn't happened for a year.
I know, but obviously watching it in hindsight, you think, also, to call someone homicidal?
Yeah, because he's... Yeah. Basically, the way that he was...
That means you're a murderer, right?
Yeah, effectively. I mean, genocidal is wiping out an entire species of people.
Yes, of course it is, yeah.
A species of people. I could have used better terminology than that, but you know what I mean. But Sabu was brought into ECW in the early days as... Oh, well, basically, he's still a madman now, but he was brought out on like a stretcher that he was tied to and given like a Hannibal Lecter mask.
Like a straight jacket
as he's
type
kicking
thing.
out at people, trying to... So they basically had him down as being a full-on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest nutter. Yeah. And he plays it well. Yeah. Which is very funny when you actually hear him talk normally. He's very reserved, very calm. It's all the marijuana, to be fair. I mean, they love a bit of that, and I've got a story on that later on that relates to this show that's quite key. But what was your takeaway when you saw Sabu? He came out. What were your thoughts?
Not many, I'll be honest.
Not many?
No, purely because I know I've watched Rey Mysterio quite a few times. I know his style of matches. Don't hate them. And actually I saw the stature of this guy and I thought...
He's not big, not huge.
He's not massive. Yep. Actually, maybe I'll enjoy this. Maybe they'll be of similar to like the Tajiri match. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Fine. I thought, maybe it will be like a similar match where they're paired because they've got a similar fighting style, XYZ, you know. So I was prepared for a good match.
What do you think about his fluffy trousers?
Yeah, wasn't really here for that.
No.
But it was good that they both had completely different, like opposite colours, opposites. Like at the beginning when they hold chairs, the chairs matched the colour of what they're wearing. Very clever.
See, I liked Rey Mysterio's gear massively. I didn't like ECW written on the back of his mask. It felt like over-pandering to the crowd. But the black and red gear is one of his better looks, I think. Although the robe that he comes out in, it looks like he's borrowed it from a regular-sized man, and it looks like he's gone into his dad's wardrobe, grabbed a loose-fitting suit and went on and gone, look at me, I'm a wrestler. Yeah. So that takes it away a little bit.
I liked his gear then.
Yep.
But now, like especially compared to now, I know he's an older man now.
Still great Nick for an older man.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely. But it's a bit odd to me because he's gone from like then the looser fit to now I'm going to wear spandex.
Yeah, okay.
Like to me, it should be the other way around. But I preferred the look back in 2006.
Yep. No, I think it was, and this particular outfit I actually thought was really, really good. And I know that's not normally my domain to talk about that, but
go for it.
I actually wrote it down. I said it was really good. I think even the title looks big on Ray. Like, as he came out, it takes up to his
whole midsection, yeah.
And I feel like...
Just hold it, don't wear
hold
it.
Not even over the shoulder, just hold it in your hand, because then the perspective... It's little things like that.
Smaller.
Again, for me, it's like, don't... I mean, it's up to him. I'm sure he chose to wear it out like that, and you're proud. I get it. But looking back at that, if that was me and I saw that, I'd be like, oh, I should have done something different. I'd have overanalyzed it.
But he always wore it like that, didn't he? When
he did.
Had it.
A fair play to him. I put red and black gear. Well, I put red and back gear on Ray as a solid look. I put Sabu rushing and risk taking scares me.
Okay.
So Sabu, how do I describe this? So, well, I've kind of said it here. He's a risk taker, but a lot of the stuff he does is so on the fly, and he's not precise enough with what he's doing. Like, he'll put a chair down to jump off it, to hit the ropes, to do something else. Yeah. But he'll just put the chair roughly in the area and hope that what he does will work. And I've seen a lot, certainly, actually in this match, to be fair, he was pretty on point. I think maybe once I saw him do a misstep.
Yeah, I think there's only one or two that I noted.
But in his later years, which again, age and time catches up to everyone, he was known for just botching everything. Like, all this stuff, like he would take multiple run-ups at things because he couldn't gauge the distance right. And I forgot, because it's been a while since I've seen the show, how much of that was involved in here. And I was pleasantly surprised with how little it was. I mean, they start off with the chairs, like you said, swinging at each other, and I thought, this is going to be ridiculously stupid.
Yes.
So, for the match itself, what did you think? How did you think the match played out?
I thought it was alright. I thought it I wasn't as hooked as I had been for the previous two. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. Although they did... we couldn't remember the name of it then, and I still can't remember it now. The Hardys. Matt's on all fours.
Poetry in motion.
Thank you. And again, similar thing. Run, jump off a chair.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. That made me happy.
Look good, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that in there. It was fine. The beginning was fine. Towards the end, it started to make me nervous. Because as we've briefly mentioned, neck things I really don't like. Yeah. Anything that potentially is going to break your neck, hurt your neck, I don't like it, having been someone that's injured their neck. Yeah. And obviously I'm jumping right to the end here, but the end, didn't like it. Really didn't like it. Right,
I didn't like it for a different reason to you.
Okay.
And to give you a bit more background, Sabu has broken his neck in the past.
Right, well, I'm glad I didn't know that, because it would have made it really painful to watch. He broke it,
I think it was about 95, in a match with Chris Benoit, and that is how Chris Benoit got the nickname The Crippler at the time.
Oh.
So, his finished move, the Crippler Crossface. He was called the Crippler because he broke Sabu's neck. And in his defence, and there's very few things you can defend him on, I don't think this was actually his fault.
Right.
So he went for a back body drop. Sabu got up in the air and looked like he changed his mind on whether he was going to come down face first as a flapjack, and then changed his mind last minute and try to rotate. So Sabu rotated himself onto his own head, and he literally spikes himself, and you see him like rolling around and pointing at his neck, and he was out for a long time. But yeah, so Sabu does have a neck history as well.
I'm glad I didn't know that, because it would have made me even more tense while I was watching.
I didn't want to give you any background going into this. I wanted you to experience it as it was. And I put, my God, the chair shots, when headshot chair shots were fine.
Yeah.
This isn't even the worst example of it on the night.
Nope.
But it's...
Didn't like it.
Do you know what's bad? At the time, I loved it. Because I didn't think about the real world implications. Yeah, you just think... they're trained to take it. There's I thought it was gimmicked. There was something about it that you meant it was fine. It's not fine.
No.
And there's a few later. There's some really good ones later, and there's a couple not good ones at all later.
Yeah.
But Sabu setting the table up, then still chasing, still choosing to springboard to the floor on an empty thing was stupid.
Yeah.
It's just, change it up. Don't do that.
No.
And the way that they were positioned on the guardrail as well, just think about how bad that could have actually been.
Yeah.
Because it didn't look like the legs were resting over the guardrails. It was just the tip of the table on one of them, certainly. I don't know about the last one that they went through.
Yeah.
But just one motion of moving that guardrail back, and the end of the table goes down, and they've got no control about how they land.
Yeah, it just makes me laugh.
And again, because Sabu is, for me, one of the most scary men in terms of I don't know if he's going to hurt himself. And to be fair, I could be wrong. I don't think he often hurt other people. It was himself that he'd end up hurting when he did this stuff. I also noticed on Sabu's cheek, he had like a weird burn. I was like,
I saw that.
Was that a branding iron? Because he came out with that.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. Like, but obviously there's no background.
No, I mean...
a bit brutal, but it gives him a bit of an edge, I suppose,
yeah,
like,
that's true.
looks-wise.
I could have looked into it, but I know that ECW actually had an independent show that were put together by some other people, some other of the originals, and I don't know if Sabu appeared on that show, so maybe it was a fresh injury from that, but it looked, whatever it was, didn't look pretty.
No, it did not.
I mean, and I've seen this man in a match before where it was a barbed wire rope match, so no ropes, barbed wire, where he landed in it, and there was blood coming out of his arm. It, don't get me wrong, didn't look good, but it didn't look as bad as what it actually was. But what he'd done was he'd torn the skin completely open. You could see the muscle, and he taped his own arm shut.
That makes me feel sick.
So
that's vile.
Yeah, horrendous. But maybe one day we'll.
No thanks. Don't know what's on.
Well, you won't know what show it's on. But it was actually quite a good match. I mean, the springboard crotch to face through the table was well done.
Ah, that's what it is. I've got Ray's crotch jump on a table, great, and I'm reading it going,
really
what
good.
Is
Sabu
that?
took it well. So Sabu was standing on the table, Ray leapt on, crotch drop, they went through the table. That was a good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
That was really nice and clean, I thought.
I liked there was one where he Sabu jumps from the chair to the top rope to do a moonsault.
Yeah.
I loved it. No one's home.
Yeah.
But I was like,
moonsault.
oh, that's so good.
Triple jump moonsault.
And then there was, obviously it didn't impact anything.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, that looks so good. If only there was someone there.
Yeah, so again, one of Sabu's usual tropes was doing moves like that back in the day. Taz on commentary said Sabu is in pain, and I said that is pretty much Sabu's life. If you've ever watched him wrestle, I imagine the man is continuously in pain, and I fully understand his heavy marijuana use, because my God, you'd need it with the stuff that he put himself through. I also put here a note of Sabu nearly caving Ray's face in by landing on it. There's a bit where I think he kind of misjudged it. I mean, Ray didn't look like he'd overtly injured himself, but the landing didn't look right.
Yeah, I know exactly what part you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me of Clean. Yeah, I don't know if you ever saw the thing with Chris Nowitzki, who was very briefly a WWE
I know that name. If I googled him, I'd know who he was.
In 2003, in the Royal Rumble, where missile drop kicks came out of two corners, and the first one he took and the second one he landed, and then Edge landed straight on his face like that.
Okay.
Gave him a massive concussion, ended his career, Chris Nowitzki set up a foundation about all these former people of WWE and WWF suing.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, that was, and it just it made me think of that. I put Ray's having no more kids, landing on the chair with his genitals.
Yes.
Wasn't the first man. Wasn't the only man to have this happen to them over the course of the night. But then right afterwards, put never mind, the chair shot that followed killed him anyway. So brutal chair shot, especially on such a little person. Now we get to the ending. Okay. The DDT through the table could have gone badly. I understand why you didn't like it. Yep. I thought it was good. What I didn't like was how the fuck in an extreme match are you ending it on a draw because both have got boo-boos?
Yeah.
It didn't sit right with me. The ending was poor.
It wasn't enough to end it like that.
No.
I didn't like it personally because of my own personal feelings.
Yeah.
But did I watch it and think anyone had damaged themselves enough for you to be finishing it like this? No.
And nor did the crowd, because the crowd let them know exactly what they thought of that finish. And I agree with them.
Yeah.
Especially seeing as it was made clear it was an Extreme Rules match. It was a nice looking. It was a nice looking move. That wasn't enough to end it.
No.
So yeah, I guess Rey Mysterio defending his world title on a technical draw, which was a shame because the match itself was cleaner than I remembered it being. Did I enjoy it as much as the tag team match and maybe even Orton Angle? Possibly not.
No.
But it certainly I wouldn't put it in a bad pile.
It was definitely not the worst match of the night.
It wasn't the worst match of the night. So. I don't think you'll think this is the worst match of the night. I think there's one more that you'll think is worse than this. But we move on now to... And again, this is in... Holly. I couldn't have made more notes on this match, I'll be honest. That is the length of my notes on this one match that we're approaching now. We've got Edge and Mick Foley
I didn't make many. I'll be
versus
honest.
Terry. Well, probably because Edge was there. Versus Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer.
Yep.
And it turned into basically a 6-person intergender tag with Beulah McGillicuddy, Tommy Dreamer's wife, and Lita. Now, where would you like to... So I'm going to leave this one with you to lead off with, because at least I know you know pretty much all of the participants.
I knew everybody. Yeah, okay. I was well happy.
So what were your thoughts when this came up?
So obviously, I think before it started, there was the promo for this one, which I always like a little promo when it's a match I haven't seen, because it gives you a little bit of a background. And Tommy Dreamer, I remember him as being like one of the hardcore, like always coming out hardcore matches. Always
ECW's reference.
Kendo stick, like brilliant. Mick Foley. Haven't actually watched a lot of Mick Foley matches, I'll be honest.
You're in for some treats.
Yeah, I've seen a couple, but not, especially when he's Mick Foley.
Yep.
Haven't seen that many. I'll be honest. Edge wasn't my favourite person at this time.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I don't like the hair.
But
at this stage,
the hair is an awkward length.
Yeah.
And we know my loyalties lie with the Hardys.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the Lita Edge combination.
Well, we touched upon it actually from episode 0 with the match that you picked in the TLC and JR's unfortunate commentary comment of Lita jerking Edge off. Now, this was very much in the post-Lita jerking Edge off phase.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I think at this point they were already not together.
No.
And they were, obviously, for the roles, they had to carry on with it, which must have been awkward, especially with some of the stuff they were doing.
Yes. I just didn't like it. And I still don't like it now.
So what did you think of, like, going into this match? I can't imagine you had high expectations, given you had a couple... Well, you had a geriatric in there, and there's Terry Funk, a legend. We lost him actually this year. Really sad to hear that. But at this age, it makes me uncomfortable watching, just because he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good at making me think he's injured. And I don't know, anytime I see a Funk match after, like, the mid-90s, I don't know, I'm on edge.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Hey, that was that was fully intended there. We'll style that one out.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is why I literally have 5 points for this match.
I thought you'd have loads for this one.
No, it kind of. I'll be honest. This was very mid card to me. It didn't hit the peaks that I thought it would hit.
This was effectively the co-main event. It wasn't the one that went second on last, but this was effectively, for all intents and purposes, billed as the co-main event.
It didn't... Yeah, I think I had high expectations because of who was in it. I was like, oh, this is going to be brilliant. But it just didn't do it for me. But I also don't like the whole blood thing.
Okay.
Mainly because I can't work out whether it's real or if it's fake.
It's real.
And then the guy... Terry Funk goes out halfway through, doesn't he? Because he oh god, it's just blood everywhere. And then comes back out again, and I'm just a bit like, okay.
But I've got a lot of... So what I'll do is for this one, because I've made extensive notes, I'll read through my notes. You jump in. Don't let me waffle on.
Okay.
Because it's a 2-person gig, this, and people get very bored of my voice after a while, if they haven't already. So... I'll start off and put Foley with a black eye before the match even starts.
Yeah.
Looking like that neighbour that parents tell their children to give a wide berth. Just in a flannel shirt, looking a little bit dangerous.
I mean, I put his entrance doesn't help. Like, it always just makes me smile.
Yeah.
His entrance just always makes me smile. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like Mick Foley.
Yeah.
He's so good, and for his lack of... and he'd be the first one to say this, for his general lack of athleticism, what he achieved in wrestling. One of my favourite promos of all time is Mick Foley. The way he was able to go between characters that all landed as well, like Three Faces of Foley, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind, all very different, all worked because of Mick Foley, which is incredible character work for him. But yeah, like I said, he does look a little bit like there'd be a strong stench. Like you feel like you could taste it in the air. Like there's just a general mildewy, salty taste in the air.
Okay.
But just being around him. But So he starts off with a bit of a promo. So he goes, one line in particular caught me, but all right, I sold out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
I was like, brilliant.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, Mick was always good for a cheap pop anyway, by just mentioning like the area that he was in and stuff like that. And he managed to use it again, but not in the traditional babyface sense, which I thought was good. My second note, and this follows a theme from the match that you picked.
Okay.
Fucking hell, Lita, 100% wore it better than Edge. Because they were twinning a little bit there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Both with the white tops, the black and the trousers. And I don't understand gravity.
Oh,
How did everything stay where it should have been for Lita? This is where I need your input as a female, please.
Got a lot of scaffolding going on, I think, in there.
When we say scaffolding, not to be creepy, I'm genuinely curious because there's...
I mean,
I don't
honest,
understand.
I don't know because I'm not gifted in that aspect of life. And I don't think a lot of these people are naturally either.
Well, she isn't.
But it does boggle my mind how your tits can be under your chin.
But stay there as well. Like,
yeah, they don't move anywhere.
Because you said
they?
there must have been a lot of support underneath.
Yeah.
But I can't work out, based on the little that we can see,
Yeah.
how... Like, if that was me, I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, if I looked like that, I'd have more questions than anything. But I just can't understand, like, I feel like if I sneezed, like, I've
Yeah,
knocked a tit out or something. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I mean, we come on to a bit more Lita stuff in a minute.
Yeah.
So Edge even says that the fans are going to masturbate over Lita later that evening. I mean, they're not wrong. Have you seen the people in that crowd?
Well, yeah, true. But again, this is the stuff that I just didn't...
I mean,
I don't like
at
it.
this time I was 17, so...
Yeah, I suppose at that age, I wouldn't have been the target audience, but the people that were,
yeah.
I get it, but I was just like, ugh. And I think because I didn't like them together anyway.
No,
so
that's perfectly fair. And then we've got here, I mean, I think there's a bit where Lita simulates doing a BJ very briefly.
Yes, yes.
I'm glad you caught that, because if I said it and you went, no, she didn't, I feel a little bit like a wrong un.
No, I did question whether that happened, and then just moved on.
That, if we're being perfectly honest
It's
here,
not the worst thing they've ever done, is it?
Well, on the DVD, that mustn't have got paused more than most other elements of DVDs in my wrestling collection back in the day.
Still.
And yeah, I'm 17, honestly.
Yeah,
anything
understood.
Anything that had two mounds was like, if I went past a set of hills, there was a chance that I'd get excited at that age. God. Bless me. That let you into a little window of my life that you probably could have all done without hearing, but it's the truth, and this is what we're here for. Well, not for that, but...
Oh my God.
So then we've got Terry Funk emerges, dribbling like the crazy old bastard he is. Literally just... I mean, he had a load of water in his mouth, but I just thought, oh my God. There was a second I thought he's literally just... Yeah. He's been licking windows, and this is what's been left over from him. Tommy Dreamer looks so happy to be relevant. I put that. This is his home environment, home field advantage, and anytime they start chanting ECW or Tommy Dreamer, he just looks genuinely so happy to be alive.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is nice. Because basically everywhere else he's been, he's not really been relevant, at least not to the levels that he was in ECW. I feel for Tommy Dreamer as well, a lot of the times that he came to the forefront, there are a few big angles he was in the original ECW back in the day. He had a feud with Raven that went on for ages, where they were like buddies at high school. Raven always got the chicks, Tommy didn't because he was a bit of a geek and blah 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 blah. He had a really good thing with Sandman. I think that might have been preceded the Raven story angle that they had, where Sandman literally caned him, I think, 20 times, to the point where even the ECW crowd were like, they went silent.
Oh, okay.
Like, and going, oh, like it just was uncomfortable, and his back was all torn up to bits. But I feel like a lot of Tommy Dreamer's level of prominence in ECW was because other people had left.
Right, okay.
That's not to say he wasn't very good.
Yeah.
That wasn't to say he was undeserving.
But there was others that were more entertaining that then weren't there.
And then when they left, Tommy Dreamer moved up.
Yeah.
So Raven got a bit more preferential treatment than Tommy did. Raven left. Taz definitely got more preferential treatment. Even Sandman briefly went to WCW at one point, and as we'll touch upon him later.
Right.
But Tommy Dreamer just always felt a bit like an afterthought. So it was genuinely quite heartwarming to see him being happy because they wanted him there.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just quite a nice little thing for him. So I mentioned here that I jumped ahead on the simulator blowjob thing because of what Beulah said about can't believe the stuff coming out of your mouth is worse than the stuff.
Oh my
that
god,
you put in it.
yes, yes, I do
Very
remember
clever
that.
line.
That was very clever. Yeah.
Very clever line. So I put Funk and Foley having a slap fight, like two winos outside of Wetherspoons. That's just the vibes I was getting from that one.
Okay.
But they've got a notorious history. They're really good friends
Right,
outside
okay.
of the business. They've got nothing but time for each other. But the fist they were throwing just was, not the best work. But also Funk throwing a chair. I don't know if you saw this. It was when they were outside, so they're brawling outside, throwing these little slaps. Funk just grabs a chair and throws it up in the air.
Oh, yes, I did see that, and I just went, where is that going to go?
'Cause-
Who's that going to hit?
Again, it kind of goes with his whole shtick of being a bit of a crazy old bastard. But there were children in that
Yep.
crowd, or young people in that audience, and there was one that very nearly got it. I think, fortunately, the leg of the chair hit Foley, which can't have felt good.
No.
But I just
Still.
thought it's a risky move to take in that environment, but it paid off. But again, had me on edge, a bit like Sabu's work earlier.
Yes.
I put 10 straight headshots, and I winced thinking we were a year away from the Benoit incident.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I could think about now with chair shots to the head.
For sure.
I still think there's a way that they can mask chair shots better. I don't think it always has to be, because the positioning of when someone clearly turns their back and tenses for it looks a bit too fake.
Yeah.
Apologies for using the F word. But I feel like they could do it. Just put your hand. I don't care. I'd rather see aim high, but someone get their full arms and hands up to block all the impact on it.
Because you would if you saw it coming
Of course
towards
you
you,
would.
wouldn't you? If you were going to hit,
I don't know.
if you were going to hit me with the chair, I'm not just going to stand there and turn my back on it.
Just to be clear, I also haven't hit you with
No,
the
I
chair.
know you wouldn't, but
yeah,
it's
you
a
would.
natural reaction.
No, I just don't like the fact you said if I hit
If you
with
would,
a chair.
yeah. Just
If
because we're
one.
both here.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
If someone was going to hit me with a chair, I'm
Oh,
not just
yeah,
going to
yeah.
look at it. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they take out natural reactions,
Yes.
and it's just a bit like, no, let's just have, like you say, the running. Stop.
Yeah.
Like, it's a natural reaction.
Yeah.
They
So-
should incorporate that more.
People know, unless you're a young kid, people know what's happening here.
Yeah.
We're not watching because we're trying to catch people out and make mistakes. We want to get immersed in it. We want to
Yeah, for
get
sure.
drawn into the reality that they're creating. And it's little things like that I think could be massively improved if they just did little things like that. I'm sure there's a reason they don't
Yeah,
one, because
They would
one
know,
miss hit
but-
and then it's a different issue, isn't it? So, but just something to think about if you're listening, WWE and anyone else. So, again, back to that crazy old bastard Terry Funk wearing the ladder and spinning. I saw something in B&Q the other week, but I don't think he worked there. But just the whirly-bird helicopter
Yeah,
thing
that's a bit
that hits no one.
ridiculous. No.
It's a nice
It
little
does
reaction.
nothing.
But also, the man, I think at this point in time, is 60 plus.
Oh, God, honestly. Just
What are you doing?
Just stop.
Like, you're not even spinning at enough momentum. I feel like I could put my hands down, you could hit me inside the head. So yeah, I mean, Terry Funk spinning around at the pace he was, I don't feel like it was going to do any damage at all.
It's not a move that I would have looked at and gone, oh my God.
But to be fair, I mean, if you were spinning around at enough of a rate to actually do damage, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That is terrifying, so again, fair enough. Funk falling off a ladder hurt me. I winced, because it feels like your granddad...
Everything he did made me wince.
It's like your granddad going up into the loft to get Christmas decorations, missing a step and just falling down, because he falls like an old man, because he is an old man. And it just... I wince, I'm just like, oh...
Yeah.
Come on, Terry, stop. I mean, he'd already had about 6 retirements at this point, if not more.
Okay.
His first retirement was like in the 80s.
Jesus.
I want to say 88, 89, maybe even earlier than that. But fair play to it. He just loved the business. That's the thing. It's the adrenaline high or something he was getting from it. There's a constant in his life. He just kept coming back. And at a point, someone has to be there to say, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, for their own sake, as much as anything. I mean, Funk probably lasted a lot longer than many would have expected him to be fair.
Yeah.
But like, I see stuff with Ric Flair these days. I'm like, just please people. I know he needs.
God.
I get it. He needs money, so I understand it from that
Honestly.
point. But I don't want to see him.
No.
It's everything he does is like staying there now.
Well, don't watch
Arguably
AEW
the greatest.
anytime soon, then.
I know. I saw that recently. Arguably the greatest to ever do it. I don't want to see him around anymore.
No.
Because it's like with Undertaker.
It's too dangerous to me. It's not even just for you. It's too dangerous for the other people that you are now wrestling with. Because what if, to me, we know, like, the whole wrestling thing, but what if someone does something to you which you can't handle, and then you really hate yourself because you're old.
Yeah.
Bottom line, the guilt is just, and also it's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring TV to me.
Well, Ric Flair only officially retired, was it last year or the year before? But
that was just from
I don't mind him
WWE,
doing,
wasn't it? He's now fucking on AEW.
Yeah, but I would be very surprised if he has a match for them. Is he scheduled for a match? Yep. Is he actually?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Yep.
Oh, Rick, please don't do this. Also, fucking shame on Tony Khan. Like everything you're doing there, but it's just, someone needs to be there to stop these people from hurting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, because having a Ric Flair match will look. Just think about the individual. You'll be making money without that. Just think about the individual. Anyway, sorry to get a little bit off topic on that. I think as well we start seeing Lita very much gets confused because she starts clapping at one point as the crowd are chanting "She's a crack whore," which is at her. Mm-hmm. Did you spot this as well? Why was she clapping?
Yeah, I don't really understand. I don't think she understood what was going on half the time because a lot of the facials,
well, she was on crack,
and the facial expressions, the reactions, I was just like, it's not needed. And I know she was needed because of the other woman,
Beulah, yeah.
But you're just a bit like, we don't need you here. It's not, for me. It's just not needed.
I mean, yeah.
Personal feelings aside.
Yeah, and again we go back to the crowd. Well, a couple of things. First, we see the barbed wire. When they peel the barbed wire off the clothing and the flesh, I don't have like a strong gag reflex for many things. No.
For many things, no.
Well, for like gore.
Okay,
specifically
thank you for clarifying
in the
that,
gore.
yeah.
We'll ask about yours later.
Okay.
But just it makes me feel unwell. It unsettles me.
Yeah.
I'm even like kind of wincing as I'm talking about, thinking.
Yeah, one of the only notes I have is the barbed wire stuck to Tommy Dreamer's ear.
Oh yeah.
Vile.
Yeah. Well, and do you ever hear about? Well, to be fair, this wasn't but with barbed wire. But do you ever know how Mick Foley lost his ear?
I feel like I do, but I just don't remember.
So it was I want to say it was a match in Germany against Vader. And Mick Foley used to do this thing where he'd dive over the top rope, but he'd put his head between the top and middle, so that when he'd go over, the ropes would twist, and he'd be effectively guillotined in it. Caught his ear, took his ear off.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I don't think, because I originally thought it was barbed wire related, but I don't actually think it was.
That's not in a pay-per-view, is it?
No.
Lovely.
I don't even know if that's recorded.
Great.
To be fair.
Means we won't ever watch
No,
it.
we won't. There's some things that if I ever think we're going to have to watch it, I'll pre-warn you on anything gruesome, because there's one in. Anyway, we won't worry about that now. But the fans then start chanting, "We want fire." Why do they want to kill their heroes?
No thanks.
Why do they want Terry Funk to die?
Yeah, that's a bit odd. Like, it's already enough. Like, let's just leave it be, please.
Pissing blood. I mean, Edge, I'm pretty sure, wasn't supposed to bleed, but he gets caught with something at one point, which gives him a little trickle on his head. So that was done hard way. So no one had to blade for him there. But I don't know. I just think, and the crowd are chanting as well, "We want Sandman." Like, they just thought this part of the show was going to be absolute carnage, and it was. But to me, the reason I thought the match itself was okay, but it felt like moment to moment rather than there was no connective tissue.
Yeah, to me, I've put the whole match is a bit of chaos. There's no organisation. It just seems a bit messy.
But like a different kind of chaos to the TLC match that you picked for the first
like
episode.
To me that was not planned, but like structured chaos.
Yeah, so it made logical sense to go from one
everyone
thing
for
to
themselves.
Another. Right.
There's no actual teamwork going on here.
Well, yeah, and like you said, Terry Funk gets taken out of the match for a bit. He's talking about his eye, blood pissing down his face.
I heard my eye and I thought, do not show me anything to do with someone's freaking eye. And then I was like, he's fine. If he's saying it's his eye, he's fine.
But the fact he's going, my eye, Mick, my eye, and it made me just think, they're trying to do it like, this is legitimate, this isn't planned. He goes out, obviously it's then 3-on-2 for a fair while.
Yeah.
I think so. This was the other moment where we got Dreamer joins the No More Babies Club.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So him and Ray very much in the No More Children front these days. We've got Again, another note. I've got Foley close to losing a second ear courtesy of barbed wire board. Just stop this.
Horrible. Thank you. No.
It's just ugly. Like, again, even when I was younger, the first time I watched a barbed wire match was like a morbid curiosity, but they're very limiting.
Yeah.
And there's not
too much you can actually do.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No, it's fine. I mean, it wasn't obviously an official barbed wire match, but
no.
It got
of it in there.
Oh, absolutely. So I've got Edge simulates violating Beulah for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's my last point.
With the pump handle slam. So this was before the finish of the match.
Yep.
Where he's giving her a good seeing to.
Is this the one where she's literally like bent in half?
Yeah.
Like 3 times they do this, and I'm like, I saw it the first time.
Yep.
It was wrong but mildly amusing. I don't need to see it twice more.
Yeah, because Edge is a dirty, dirty boy.
Apparently
which is
so.
As soon as he became rated R superstar, Edge is on the hunt. If there's a bit of strange in front of him, he's going to pounce. You better believe he's going to pounce.
Just weird.
And so with the pump handle slam, which he turns into some sort of thrusting action, I don't know. And then bewildered Funk returns. I just said he looks a fucking mess.
And that's kind of where him and Foley just ended up.
Yeah, going through
the table, whatever it was, of barbed wire, and just staying there.
Whilst Foley was on fire. I don't know if you saw that in the replay.
Didn't they at this point, I was like, let it be done, please.
Yep.
I'm over it.
His back was literally on fire as he fell through that, and they're in there. And I don't know how, but Terry Funk seems to loop his arm underneath the barbed wire,
actually.
And it's bruising because he's old. He's going to bruise like a banana, bless him.
Oh yeah.
It's just very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
very uncomfortable. It was a nice little when it first happens. You go, oh, and then you
then you still see them there like 5 minutes later.
Yeah, getting
like,
wire cutters and the rest of it out.
Well,
I think
the worst ending to a match
not even this.
Okay.
Like the barbed wire bit round the face.
Oh yeah, no, that's horrible.
Yeah, so I think Tommy Dreamer got it around the eyes nearly at one point, which I'm hoping it wasn't actual barbed wire because that's too risky for something like that. And Edge got it in the submission move, but he can't help put it there himself.
Yeah.
But I digress. But yeah, let's speak of the ending here.
God.
I mean, after the Styles obligatory cat fight shout, which was a thing that he used to do all the time in ECW,
right.
we come to the end of the match where Beulah's standing in the ring. She sees the Predator that is Edge.
Yep.
Clearly goes, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Gets speared. Good spear. She took it very well.
She sold that very well.
Now the pin.
I don't think she needed to sell it because I feel like that's just how it was. The pin honestly made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I like it. But at this point I didn't.
No.
But just watching it, I was like, this is just not aging well.
No.
Because you sure as fuck couldn't do that now.
Oh, hell no. You couldn't have had that kind of match now, let alone...
But let's simulate, basically dry humping her.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry, if I'm Lita and this is happening, abso-fucking-lutely not.
That's my man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would be fucking
or
livid.
Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
Who's watching his wife get fucking jackknifed.
I get it, and I get that it's for entertainment. But I was just watching this being like, at no point would I be okay with any of this.
No. It cemented him as a dick, though, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
They did that.
That really did.
Their ultimate goal was for that,
and
that is what happened.
It did. But those are the moments I watch, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that era of you being an absolute knob.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
So, yeah, as we say, Edge spears Beulah and penetrates her for the 1, 2, 3. What the hell just happened? Is what I put.
Yeah.
Again, it's mainly for the didn't age well thing, but I remember at the time thinking, are you allowed to do that?
It's just odd. Yeah.
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 Right.
Oh, great. On to my favourite match of the night, yeah?
Yeah, I thought this would be your least favourite match. So, we're going to now talk about the Balls Mahoney and Masato Tanaka match.
Yeah, it's joyful.
So, what were your thoughts? Because you won't know either of these two fellas.
No, however, when Balls Mahoney first came out, I thought it was Raven. I obviously hadn't watched it well, and I didn't know how long ago Raven had been in it. Was he still around at that time? I didn't know, and I was like, has he just eaten a lot? And it was Raven.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
It's kind of like the hair was the same, the face kind of was similar.
Yeah.
If you'd have just blown Raven up a little bit, that's what he looked like.
Yeah. I mean,
So I did have to Google and make sure that it wasn't the same person.
Like his
under a
alias
different
Balls Mahoney.
name. Yeah.
Brilliant. Masato Tanaka, any initial thoughts there?
None. Just honestly, I saw them both come in, and I literally went, if I hadn't already eaten a Freddo, I'd be getting another one.
You didn't have another Freddo to have?
No, I didn't.
Oh, sad times.
I knew it was a filler.
Yeah.
And it was so apparent it was a filler.
Yeah.
And again, I've got 3 notes on it. One of it says, not really interested in this much. Thought it was Raven.
Yeah.
Oh, the beer. There was beer from the crowd.
Yes.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
That was my highlight of the match for me.
Brilliant. That was the highlight of the match. That's all your points covered on this.
It was pointless.
I said it was like surprisingly clean open exchanges. The match served a purpose. It gave the break between what just happened and the main event. I saw that Balls actually injured his back, apparently, going outside of the ring because he shouts and they bleep it.
Oh, really?
I think he shouts, "Oh, fuck," the way he hits his lower back hard on the apron as he goes outside the ring. Beers to the head was a comment that I put in there as well.
Yeah, I didn't, but I enjoyed it. I like a bit of beer work, you know, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, but you don't like it when...
If that was my beer, though, I'd be freaking livid.
Well, again, Holly's talking from a perspective where she's had beer knocked on her at a show we've attended.
My own beer.
Yeah, you've also knocked beer over yourself at a show. That's a different show.
Yes.
Again, a story for another time. But yeah, so Holly's got strong opinions on beer and wrestling.
Leave my beer alone. Like.
There was one good spot in there. I thought the superplex to Balls, because Masato Tanaka, he used to be a bit of a bigger guy,
right?
For him to actually power Balls up in the way he did, looked good.
Kudos to him to do it.
Absolutely. And then I didn't even... Oh, no, I did put a little comment, said chair shot warping Tanaka's skull for the 3. The ugliest chair shot of the night by a mile.
Yeah, nice.
Horrendous. No. Like, that's... How do you, like... live?
Yeah, I don't know. He's seen stars for a long time.
But I don't like... He's still alive now, as far as I'm aware. I don't think he's dead. But I feel like that should kill a man.
Yeah.
Just... Anyway, so that was that.
My last point just said, I enjoyed the chant at the end of the match.
Balls?
Balls, balls, balls.
Yep, absolutely.
that was, again, the beer and the balls.
The beer and the balls. Brilliant. Balls Mahoney from Nutley, New Jersey. I don't know if you spotted that. So, I think they might be lying.
Yes.
So I preemptively wrote down that we were going to the main event, but we weren't quite going to the main event just as of yet.
Okay.
We have Eugene come out.
Oh God, yes. No, sorry, I've written a subtitle that says the main event, and then before it even starts,
that's exactly what I
started to write comments about. Although before we get to Eugene,
okay,
the first comment I wrote was the intro, so the promo made me want to watch that WrestleMania.
Okay.
Don't remember what it was, but it made me want to watch it.
Right.
I couldn't even tell you what WrestleMania it was.
Brilliant.
But hey ho, I wrote it down.
Okay.
RVD.
Yeah.
One of the few men who I will allow to rock a unitard.
Brilliant. So again, one of Holly's strong aversions to human or men specifically wearing gear in wrestling is the unitard.
I hate them.
Like I know
there are few people that I like. Kurt Angle, great.
Fine. Yep.
RVD,
amateur wrestler works.
Great.
Tie dye, all that kind of.
Yeah, and I like the graffiti,
dragons,
all of that sort of stuff. And you're going to say the guy that I freaking hate.
Bron Breakker.
Oh, honestly, no.
His daddy used to wear it though as well. Okay.
No, I'm not going.
Like
we're not going
to
divert into that. I just don't like him. But RVD, brilliant.
It works.
Absolutely brilliant.
It works, as you can see from the shelf just there with his little red and black and white tie dye gear. So there's a lot going on that shelf. But yeah, you're right. I got caught out as well because they did the promo package for the main event. Yeah. So I was like, we're going straight into that.
And then it broke off.
But the thing that I thought was weird was that I remember this happening, but I thought, oh, maybe it was 2005 and I've just misremembered the show it was on.
Yeah.
And then we see Eugene. What do you know of Eugene?
This made my heart sad because I remember him being a character.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking at the time, I don't even know how old I was. A little bit older than you.
18, 19.
Was I? Brilliant.
2006.
Great.
Yeah.
But I just remember being like, I'm sure this is not okay.
Yeah.
Because he's clearly not the way they are portraying him, because that would not be safe.
Yep.
So how is it okay to be acting like so? So I did a little Googling.
We're cutting edge.
I did a little Googling.
Yeah.
And once I Googled it and I found out the backstory to why they did it, I was like, that is really sweet.
Share the backstory, please, because I actually don't think I know this.
So it was someone's, like, it was the trainer, or someone's trainer had an autistic son who was very, I mean, we know the characteristics of autism, like they're very intelligent, but, you know, there's a lot of things. Exactly. Yeah. And he said that there was no one in wrestling that gave his son like a mirror image of himself.
Okay.
And so I liked the idea of it.
I genuinely don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I had to Google it because in my head I was like, who thought this was a good idea?
Because so the guy that plays Eugene is Nick Dinsmore, very good professional wrestler, and they felt like he got saddled with a gimmick that was beneath him, quite frankly. But I didn't know that backstory going into it. Yeah,
that's why I had to.
But does that not make what happens next worse?
Well, this was where I just didn't understand it, because I was like, I like the idea of it. I think it's very sweet, as in, yes, you're right. You know what? There are a lot of demographics that aren't covered.
Yep.
There is a reason why they're not covered, because it's just not safe. However, the fact that this guy just got absolutely booted around from left to right, and the way the crowd chants them, and I just think it's not okay.
So it's the reason they were booked, because they know as well as anyone that isn't the guy.
Oh, of course.
The guy doesn't have those difficulties that it's portraying. They are, because he's basically the archetype of a WWE person. He has no place on that show. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't be there.
No.
The crowd are letting him know. That could have been anyone, relatively speaking. It just happened to be that they used Eugene for this.
Which I really don't think was the right call.
No. I mean,
if you're going to do anything, get two freaking women out there and have some form of time filler if you really need one.
Yeah.
Like, just not... This just didn't sit well with me, especially at an ECW crowd.
I mean, it's when he comes out, I just remember thinking, we're going to have to cover this so carefully, because we make jokes and stuff like that. Oh, of course. But there's just some things you just... No, you have to be very careful with how you touch upon it. And, like, when... I actually thought this, and Taz said it, he said, go away, please. Mm-hmm. It needs to not happen here.
Yeah, I literally said, can we just have the main event, please?
Yeah.
I don't need this.
I'll be honest, there was one bit where I thought Eugene played off the crowd actually very well. It was when in the middle of the crowd chanting, fuck you, Eugene, and he was treating it like he went, oh, and good luck to you too! Yeah. Brilliant. That was up there with the Randy Orton to the fans, saying my fans
very
earlier
clever.
In the night. Very clever. And then he comes out with a poem. The poem, which it makes everyone sad. And then we see Sandman come out. And for as bad as it is seeing Eugene in an ECW ring in general, I've just got here, enter Sandman. See what I did there?
I did.
And I put fucking state of that. Looking like Christ knows what.
Honestly.
He looks like... do you watch Gogglebox?
Yes.
You know the older woman with her best mate, and they live in the... Yeah, Sandman looks like a little bit like her when she takes her glasses off.
Okay.
I don't know her name.
No,
but that's the vibe that I get. Except he looks like he's had all the drugs.
All of them?
All of the drugs at the same time.
And could give you all of them too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, no.
He's definitely got a ball of something stuffed up his arse for later. There's no way he doesn't.
The whole of it just made me really uncomfy. It wasn't necessary. I just like time filler, leave him alone.
Caning someone with like a mental handicap. It wasn't good at the time, but it was, it was edgy. It went with the ECW thing, but even then they must have thought this isn't going to look good down the line.
Absolutely not.
But they still went ahead with it. I mean, Eugene actually was a really good wrestler as well. Like, not as necessarily as the character, but it's a shame that he never got to amount to anything. But as soon as you're saddled with that, I mean, where'd you go from there?
You can't come back from there.
Where'd you go from there? Nowhere. So, yeah, Sandman comes out, canes the ever-loving Christ out of Eugene, and you can actually hear, I remember this, after they'd gone back through the curtains, you could hear a couple more cane shots. Buddy, no one can see you. Why are you still caning the poor fucker? I just it made me laugh, because I'd like to see, because I think Dinsmore's quite a tough guy as well, so he could have put Sandman in pretzels if he wanted to.
Right.
I like if there was any words exchanged on that afterwards, because I'd be thinking, sorry, what are you doing?
Well, we're done now.
Yeah, we're done. We're literally backstage.
We're done now. I'm out of character.
He's leaving the building and Sandman's caning him through the taxi window still.
Jesus.
Right.
Okay.
Now we go on to the main event of the evening.
Lovely.
We see John Cena defend the WWE Championship against Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
So RVD was Money in the Bank holder.
Yes, that was interesting.
Yeah, and it's the first time, I believe, that he'd called his shot ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
not just run in and...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when Edge won it...
Quite like that.
Won it?
Won it?
When he won it... Hey, listen here, see? So when Edge won it, obviously he did it after Cena had just had a match.
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam said, I'm having this match. It's going to be
banking it in.
Exactly.
My terms, my turf. Yeah.
Okay, so this was mainly the match, I'll be honest, that I picked it for, because I thought it was quite a good little scrap.
Yeah.
What did you think? Because obviously you didn't look at the card, so I assume apart from seeing them on the cover...
I knew this was coming, because RVD was the cover of a One Night Stand.
With Cena, yeah. As well.
So yeah, I knew that was coming. But obviously, no idea how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, I think for me as well, I forget about Cena at this time.
Mm-hmm.
I always think of him a bit later on.
Yeah.
When he's a bit untouchable.
Friendly.
Like, and he's a full-on
untouchable
face, like, you know, the face that runs the place. All that jazz.
AJ Styles one.
I know, but you know what I mean.
You've started watching the next show, haven't you?
But, yeah, I'd forget about him in this era. And I don't know why, but...
Yeah.
So in my head, I was like, well, this is going to be a no contest. Like,
really?
Because of how I imagine John Cena.
You couldn't think Cena was going to lose to RVD, even out of his, because you were imagining... Okay,
but then as soon as it started, it kind of reminded me, like, oh, hang on, we're going back time here. It's not now, because I wouldn't want to see them both wrestle now.
No.
But then it did take me back, and I was like, oh, hang on. I remember just how brilliant RVD was and how much I really enjoyed watching him.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked.
RVD was one of my favourites, to be honest, just because of I think as well, he's possibly, and there might be people that disagree, one of the best sellers for me. When he was injured, he looked like he was dead.
Yeah.
And I believed it. And there's a few moments in this match where he looks dead, and it looks justified based on what happened. So, again, much like the match that we covered in episode 0 with Punk, Cena comes out knowing that this isn't his...
Yeah, I do have a point that says, are we ever going to watch a match where Cena doesn't get booed? I know we've only watched two now, but both of them insanely booed.
But again, he came out, he did the right thing. He just put
he knew
your title in the end.
Yeah.
Title up in the air, come out, don't look at anyone.
Yeah.
Just here for business. Yeah. I'm not here for you. I'm going to get this done.
I like. I like that. He knows it's not for him, really.
What did you think of the shirt incident?
The shirt?
So he took
oh my god! Yes.
Yeah.
And he threw it into the crowd, and they threw it back
3 times.
Yeah. At first I was like, "What's going on?" And then I realised, and I was like, he shouldn't have thrown it into the crowd. He should have just taken it off and put it down.
Yeah.
But that's probably his muscle memory. Just do it.
I think he just did it the first time, and then when he saw it come back, I think he knew full well that it was going to happen each and every time he did it. So I think he worked that situation very well. And some of the throws that came back in,
decent,
brilliant.
Very much so. Yeah,
they should be playing for the Yankees or something. Really
NFL,
good.
Yeah.
You saw the one guy at the end who spat on it several times, flossed with it, because he's the star of the show. That's why people came to see this fat idiot fucking wipe his ass with a t-shirt and then throw it back into the crowd. Having a lovely time, allowed outside on good behaviour by all accounts. But yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch to start things off. Oh, I put here as well, we're talking about the gear. Van Damme's gear is always on point.
Always.
I've never seen a Van Damme thing and gone, what's this?
No, never.
No. And it works.
Yeah, it does. Really does. Especially for his athleticism and the moves he does. Works perfectly because there's no risk of exposure.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I know it's silly, but something to think about.
Yep.
There's no... That's not going to happen.
No.
And it just works for him.
And also, this comes to another point, talking about his abilities, because he's done some martial arts training and stuff like that with what have you. But when I see in promo stuff, shadow boxing from non-fighters, it looks dumb.
Oh yeah, you don't like it.
I don't like it. Van Damme doing it backstage and then throwing some kicks and stuff, I was like, at least I kind of get
it's
it.
a bit more believable.
When I see John Cena do it,
it's pointless.
please stop.
I'd rather see him doing a little rap, I'll be honest.
Oh, but when he was actually... I liked Cena's raps back in the day. This was just after... Well, actually, was he still... I would say this is the point where he's just cut this out. The Master of Thugonomics. Doctor. The Master.
Sorry,
you know, to be the Master as well. I mean, there weren't too many people going around talking about Thugonomics at the time. But what did you make of the match?
Before that, can I just clarify?
Yeah, of course.
The title. Was it at this time it was a spinning one?
Ooh.
Because I'm pretty sure I put down, is this the spinning title? Don't know why it was important to me,
I feel
but
like
it was.
That's a great question. Because it was spinning one for a couple of years, and then I'm trying to think who changed it.
Yeah, I can't remember, but in the promo I was like, oh my god, is this spinning title era? And then...
Because when Edge took it from Cena, it definitely was, and then he turned it into the rated R spinning one. Cena would have kept it spinning afterwards. I want to say yes, but I don't have any visual memory.
There was, in that match, there was no evidence. But
apart from when he came out holding it.
It entertained me. So.
Okay, no, fine. So what did you make of the match? Let's go through your side of the notes.
I enjoyed it. I could watch RVD in that era all day long. Mainly because it's so similar to... He fits into my bracket of my favourite wrestlers at that time.
Yeah, I'd agree.
He's a high flyer. He's athletic.
Yep.
He is just a springboard.
A human springboard.
Yeah. First point, Cena overselling really bores me. We've already glazed over that one. It just annoys me. But all the points here of all the moves that I really liked, they're all RVDs.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was really given the time to shine. That's such a cheesy way of saying it, but I feel like they really showcased his talent in this. And I've got points about he flipped off the stairs.
Yep. The corkscrew leg drop over the guardrail.
Yeah. And the jump, I don't even know what it's called, but like where he does the jump and the kick round, just from standing.
Oh, okay.
Again, standard RVD, but it never gets old.
Yeah, I can see that. I think. I don't know.
It was good. Sorry, it was good. I enjoyed it, but it is, to me, again, it's one of those matches where you've got someone who is nimble and athletic and quick and can do all of the flips, kicks, and then you've just got a powerhouse.
Well, yes, but again, Cena did that thing that we talked about at Money in the Bank, which I don't like, where he tries to do stuff that he's not equipped to do.
Exactly.
Like, he ascended the top of the turnbuckles and he went out with a shitty one-armed sledgehammer to the back. Looked awful. That was just before RVD leapt into the sea of unwashed folk. The drop, like, again, a lot of the points you're right, I've got here, it's all about RVD being positive.
Yes.
It's like the drop kick with the chair to the face, look good. Rolling Thunder, look good.
Is that the forward roll, flip,
jump and flip?
Okay, because I've got that written down saying, what is it called? Because I really like it.
Rolling
Thank you.
Thunder. The DDT... I'll put my teeth back in and say that again. The DDT on the chair was stunning because of the way that RVD plants himself, seems to hang there for a second, and then fall to the floor like he's dead. He did the same with, I think it was a slingshot, where the chair had been wedged between the turnbuckles, and his head went through it. I think he did that about as safely as you possibly could. But again, absolutely dead after he did it. So, one thing that we come into, apart from Cena's chin support submission system, which I think it strikes me as like a personal trainer who's going, I don't know, it just doesn't work. I need to stop seeing him do that, because every time I see it, I go, that looks shit. I don't believe you. Stop it. I
don't believe it does anything.
Well, it doesn't.
Yeah. But you know, the moves to me have to look like they're doing something. To me, this just looks like something my osteopath would do to me to crack my back.
Yeah, fair enough. What did you think about Cena hitting a ref?
I was actually a little bit shocked, I'll be honest, because that's not him.
Out of character.
That's not him. However, I do have a note that says, as soon as Cena takes the ref out, made me very confident he was losing.
Why?
I don't know, but it just did. Because that's not him either.
But I felt like it showed they were trying to portray that he was desperate. This was his back was really up against the wall. I'm going to have to go outside my comfort zone to get something done here. hitting refs and stuff like that, again, always a thing in ECW. It's not
Yeah.
uncommon. But Cena doing it, I thought was a novelty.
Yeah, I think even I did go, oh, like a sound.
An
I watched this on my own,
audible
but like an
reaction,
audible reaction happened.
Yeah.
Not a massive one, but I do think I was a bit like, that's new.
Yeah.
Like, but it just, obviously I didn't know the outcome, but as soon as it happened, my brain just went, well, he's going to lose.
Did you think we were going to get interference?
No, because I actually at that point wouldn't have known who was going to interfere.
Yeah, okay,
Because I'd already seen matches during that day, didn't know any backstories, really. And so I just thought it was just going to be as it was.
So, because we both feel the same about interference.
Fucking hate it.
I think this is just a wrestling fan thing in general. A wrestling fan is programmed to want a clean finish.
Yes.
They want to see a decisive end, no interference, clear and cut, go on, move on to the next thing.
Unless we've got a bet on someone interfering, I don't want it.
This
which
is
sometimes
fair.
we do.
But even then we don't want it, we just think it's going to
No.
happen.
No.
We're doing it because we're playing the odds. So when a gentleman slid into the ring wearing a motorbike helmet
Yes.
and leather,
Yes.
at what point did it trigger who this was?
Not at all.
Even after the spear?
So the spear happened, and my brain obviously quickly goes, huh. But surely not.
Roman Reigns isn't around now.
But my brain just kind of was like, but why? And then obviously took off the helmet, and I was like, I still don't understand why. But that's because I put a point down after this that said, what did this lead to afterwards? Because I don't know. I if I watched a clip after, maybe I'd have gone,
I can give
of
you a little
course,
bit of...
this is what happened.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't remember it. My memory
give you a
is
bit of context
appalling.
after the match is done. So the spear itself was shite, but I think that's probably because the helmet, he couldn't really see what he was doing, because he basically drives himself through the table and Cena just happens to fall next to him. The end itself, Paul Heyman. Sorry, when did you become an official?
That did confuse me.
But they allowed it to stand.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you just have the ref come to?
Yeah.
Why does Paul? I don't understand.
Get another ref come down.
I just don't understand why Paul Heyman had to be. I love Paul Heyman, but it made no sense to me.
No.
The match itself was really good.
Yeah.
Barring RVD trying to put Cena on the top rope and Cena not quite understanding how to balance and looking like a cat's whoopsie before he falls to the floor.
I think just obviously he's still going now. Just don't go up there ever, because not once are we watching you, but like not once are we watching you up there when anyone is going, oh, this is gonna be great.
But he's proving he can do it.
No, he's not.
No, I know. That's what I mean. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
No, that's not his.
So you should.
He's brilliant.
Well,
just not at this.
Many things, but yes, that isn't one of them. So, RVD goes to the top rope, 5-star frog splash.
Brilliant.
Cena was down for a while. Heyman comes out, counts the 1, 2, 3. You've got a new WWE champion, soon to be christened the ECW champion.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on the match and the show?
So the match, like, I did like the match.
Do you prefer it to the CM Punk Cena match from?
No.
No? Okay.
No, purely because the ending for me was better.
Okay.
In the Punk match.
Right.
It was believable. And not that this wasn't, it just, Paul Heyman annoyed me getting involved. Like, just get another ref out, or the ref suddenly wakes up and it's a slow 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of for me took a little bit of the shine off of how good RVD had been. For me, was the fact
could have won it clean.
The fact that that's how it finished just annoyed me. And normally, sometimes when I watch a pay-per-view by myself, the last match finishes, once I see the little logo or title bit comes up, I turn it off. This one I let run all the way to the end, because I thought now is where I would expect something to happen at the very end. And it didn't. And I don't know, it just kind of... the whole programme as a whole was okay.
Yep.
I would put it had peaks, and it had for me severe troughs, which then levelled out as being alright.
Because bad things you can have the best thing you've ever seen, but if you get 3 bad things for you, it really detracts
for me
away.
Personally, it really sucks like the fun out of it.
Yeah.
And it becomes a labour rather than, this was amazing, or I won't remember the good. This is also in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like I won't remember the good stuff more. I will remember the bad stuff more. So for me, it just levelled out as an even keel. Didn't hate it, didn't love it. If we'd have just watched some of the matches independently, I'd probably have a very different end aspect.
I feel like you need to see the ups and the downs, though, in a show, because if you're just seeing good match after good match, you kind of get desensitised to it a little bit, so it kind of makes you appreciate the good parts more than others. I think for me, it was in a period in my life where I was very much counterculture, because you are at that age, aren't you? You're trying to go against the system and go against the man, and ECW did offer that, and even though it was a watered down WWE version, I still enjoyed it. There was definitely parts of the show I didn't like. Eugene didn't need to be on there.
No.
Even though I understood why it was there, the Taz and King match could have gone. Balls, Mahoney and Tanaka, again, I understood why it was there. Didn't need it. I enjoyed the show. It's one that I have seen a few times. I haven't seen it for a number of years.
Yep.
What would you, if you had to give it a gun to your head?
Oh, you're going to make me score out of 10?
Yeah.
Thought you would. 5 is not generous enough. Like, as I say, it's a level. Like, I feel like if I give it a 5, I'm doing a disservice to the people that I actually really enjoyed.
Okay.
I would put it at a 6.
Okay. I thought you might go 7.
I did think about 7, but I just the lows were too low for me.
Go with your instinct. That's fine.
The lows were too low for me.
Does this give you more interest in delving into other ECW stuff from a while ago, or does it put you off more than anything?
I don't know. I think it's an even kill. Part of me is a bit like, I didn't enjoy this as much as I do other pay-per-views we've watched.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
No.
It's interesting.
Okay, good.
And I guess maybe it's interesting for you to hear my opinions on these things, because I've not watched them.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting for a lot of people though as well, because not only, like you said, you're bringing a female perspective to it, but a lot of the stuff you're seeing with fresh eyes. You haven't seen it before, so
I will never Google them. Like, you'll tell me when it's your choice. Yeah. You like this one, you told me we're watching this.
Yeah.
That's nice. Didn't Google it.
No.
Didn't because I don't want to ruin it for myself.
No.
If I know the outcomes of these matches, also, if it's a shite match, knowing who's going to win will bore me even more.
No, I think that's important. And you're quite up on the socials and stuff. Fortunately, because the shows aren't recent, you're going to have to go out your way to kind of
exactly, which
them.
We know I'm just not going to do.
No, exactly. So I'm glad that you didn't hate it, obviously.
No.
I think there were moments that I thought you would enjoy. I just thought it would be a good start off 10 to get your feet wet in something that was a little bit outside of your comfort zone. I didn't take
You didn't take me too far, no.
Because there's stuff in the 80s and 90s and stuff that we'll be covering at some point in time.
Coming.
We've got some plans longer term to cover off certain things, but we won't go into that at this moment in time. But yeah, just a little bit of additional information on the show itself. So, RVD, the new champion, within the space of a month, I think it was caught carrying an excessive amount of cannabis with Sabu in the car. Had to be suspended.
Like, that's real?
Yeah, that's real.
Oh.
Had to be suspended.
But
no.
Also, that's shocking.
Had to be suspended, was done, and had the title taken off him. I think at Vengeance, the title came off him, which was the next pay-per-view. Or it might have even been 2 weeks.
As in it was taken from him already, or he lost it?
They made him lose it in a match.
Right, okay.
So I think there was 2 weeks he held on to, because they gave him the WWE title and they gave him a new ECW title from memory.
Oh, okay. What was like a well done?
Yeah, and then he lost both. So
cool.
They had, I think it was either Edge or Cena took off the WWE title off him, and then I don't remember who took the ECW title off him, but that was a very short-lived reign. That's supposed to be his crowning moment to ascend to the top.
Sad.
And because of his misgivings elsewhere with drugs and Sabu, that was the end result of it. But yeah, I mean, how do you feel? That's the first official show.
I know.
In the books.
All right.
Yeah?
I don't know. I feel like it was okay.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my wheelhouse.
Okay.
So for me, it's a bit different. The last episode we did was a bit easier for me back and forth.
Yeah.
Because I was invested in both of those matches. Whereas this was new for me, so it was more of like a learning curve rather than invested, if you know what I mean.
I'll be honest, I haven't hosted a podcast myself before, so it's a bit different for me. Yeah. And I know that I can talk quite a lot.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
I'm always happy for you to jump in at any point, and you have done. So I think it's fine. It was
my valid points.
No, they're all good. I genuinely think it'll be interesting for people. I enjoyed myself. I think, like you said, there'll be certain shows where you come out of your
Oh, the next one is all me. I'm invested in this next one.
How are we doing that? So obviously we'll put some announcements up on the socials.
Yeah.
Do you have the social information to hand, or you need to obtain that? So I'll fill the gap.
Yeah, you can fill that gap.
So yeah, as we discussed before, we'll be taking it in turns to pick shows. So I picked ECW One Night Stand. Holly has picked a show which I don't think we're going to confirm just as of yet. We'll tease it beforehand. But yeah, are there ways to contact us should you have any queries or any such interest in following us? So have you got the social information to hand now?
Yes, I do.
Go for it.
So, I mean, if anyone fancies pinging us a little email, they can, which is wintwicepod@gmail.com. I can tell you that Scott runs that email, so please email him. Give him
Be
something
nice
to
to
do.
me, please. And I do not have any dealings with the Insta side of things, so
That's
if
all
they
me.
if they want to contact us.
So Instagram is wintwicepod. That is how you will find us. Again, if you want to send us a message and suggest a little show for us to watch, please do. Or just give us a cheeky little follow. There's not too much on there at the minute, but once we do more episodes and whatnot, there will be.
It'd be nice to look back on a back catalogue of stuff after we've done it. I think that'd be fun.
Yes.
And like I said, mainly we're doing it for our own entertainment, but if other people get involved and enjoy it, then even better. But yeah, I think that brings us nicely to the end of this episode. Anything you wanted to add before we hit the dusty trail?
I don't think so, apart from I've started watching The Wrestler, or Wrestlers, whatever it's called,
on
Netflix.
Yeah.
Fully enjoying that.
Yeah. How many episodes are you in?
I binge watched 3 in one night.
Nice.
So when I moan about, I don't have time to do this and this, I clearly do, because if I'm binge watching 3 hour-long episodes in one night, I've got time.
I'm sure we'll touch upon it at least in the next
Absolutely.
episode then. But thank you everyone for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. And stay tuned for the next one. Bye.
Bye.